Chapter 145. Lu Xinan thought for a long time but couldn't think of such a person. I have money. I can hire the best bodyguards to die for me. They will die for your money, not for you. Li Fan laughed. Lu Xinan, if you don't have money, then you are nothing. I will be rich for the rest of my life. They will always have to suck up to me. Lu Xinan said confidently, including you, Li Fan. You still owe me money. Don't forget. I won't forget. Just let me return it to you. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, but young master, I only sell my skills, not my body. Don't have any improper thoughts. Go to hell. Only a ghost would have improper thoughts about you. Lu Xinan was furious. This damned guy, what was going on in his head all day long? How could I have any thoughts about him? He was a bastard. A complete and utter bastard. Look. You're going off topic. Li Fan said in all seriousness, how can this person be like this? He's too much. I was just talking to you about something serious. Look at you, you're just rambling. Your sister. Lu Xinan's eyes were about to roll to the sky. This guy was too annoying. Why couldn't she win against him? It wasn't like he had no desires, but she couldn't find a place to start. Annoying, he was really too annoying. Lu Xinan was about to explode in anger, but she had nowhere to vent. She could only use her finger to poke the map, as if she wanted to poke the map. Missy, if you use more strength, the table is going to explode from your poking. Li Fan couldn't help but ridicule. Lu Xinan said angrily, see this? This is it. This is the place where old man Yamada keeps his treasures. It's a 10-meter deep steel basement. The security here is very tight. The only entrance is this door, which is old man Yamada's bedroom. Lu Xinan pointed to a building next to it. There are no other entrances or exits in this place. Also, there are a total of 10 security doors inside, and each of them has a biological detector to scan for people entering. Once someone enters, all the security doors will be immediately locked. I don't know much about this. Let Chi Seping and the others come in. Of course, that's why they're hired. Lu Xinan said something through the earpiece, and Chi Seping's team immediately walked in. Lu Xinan told him about the matter, and Chi Seping's eyes actually lit up. It seemed that he had been stifled for the past few days. Now that there was finally something for him to do, he was very excited. This place is known as a Class 5A fortress. Chi Seping stared at the map. Our only chance to strike is Mr. Yamada's bedroom. The method of entry should be fingerprint, voice control, or retina scan, so we need to get this old gentleman's physical characteristics. Fingerprint is easy to get, voice control is also not a problem, but if it's retina scan, it's difficult. Chi Seping said, I need to get some props. I'll get someone to send them to me tonight. Can you get them? Lu Xinan asked very cautiously. No problem, I have some connections in the island as well. Chi Seping made an okay gesture, it will be delivered in an hour. I remember Mr. Yamada's schedule, and he should be having dinner with you tonight. At that time, I will need your help to get these characteristics from Mr. Yamada. Leave it to me. Lu Xinan said as he pulled up his hair, it's not difficult to deal with an old man, I will do my best. But it's a bit difficult to get 10 biological scanning security locks. Cho Ao rubbed his chin, once you enter the scanning area, all the information will be scanned within a second and then uploaded. But at the same time, if you pass these scans within a second, you won't be able to trigger the security lock, right? Li Fan asked. Impossible, humans don't have this kind of reaction speed. Cho Ao shook his head, it's impossible to pass through a 5-meter-long scanning distance in a second. Leave this to me, I'll handle it. Li Fan said that he could challenge a distance of 5 meters in a second. You have to think it through. Once you fail, you will be locked inside. At that time, I will definitely not admit my relationship with you. Lu Xinan said first, you will probably be locked up in the prison of the island for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter. Without 3/3, how would I dare to go to Liangshan? Li Fan laughed, since I dare to accept it, I have already made my plans. As for the other matters, I'll leave it to you guys to handle. Alright, then from 7:00 sharp, all of us will move out. Qi Zeping made the arrangements. I will be in charge of the overall situation here, Cho Ao will be in charge of preparing to take over their network, and Gao Hongli will be in charge of changing the smart chip in the house. The Long brothers will be in charge of attracting their attention. When the eldest miss gets the biological signature, she will hand it over to Li Fan. After that, we still need the eldest miss to help us stall for some time, is that okay? No problem. I have a question. Li Fan interrupted their conversation. Who will protect Lu Xinan while I'm retrieving the national treasure? Don't worry, tonight is an important banquet. Lu Xinan gave them a reassuring pill. It is said that even the people from the royal family of the island will be here tonight, which is very important to old man Yamada. He cares about his face the most in his life. If something happens at this time, I'm afraid he will have to commit suicide to apologize. That's good. Only then did Li Fan feel relieved. I didn't know that you still care about me. No, I'm worried about losing that 120,000. Li Fan said honestly. Go to hell. Lu Xinan got angry again. She really couldn't be happy with this person for a day. Oh right, the escort agency you mentioned earlier, what's going on? Li Fan waited for Qi Zeping and the rest to get busy before immediately asking. China's escort agency specializes in smuggling goods. Lu Xinan gave Li Fan a meaningful look. If you really want to earn a lot of money, I suggest you and Guan Wenbao rebuild the escort agency. With the two of your abilities, you should be able to do it well. I've known you for so long, this is the first time you've spoken like a human. Li Fan sighed with emotion, angering Lu Xinan to glare at him. What do you mean by this, Li Fan? Are you looking for a quarrel? Look at you, losing your temper after 2 sentences. We're a team now, so we need to be united. We need to think the same way and work towards the same goal. You're not a child anymore, why do you always make me worry about you? Li Fan, why don't you go to hell? Lu Xinan felt that as long as Li Fan didn't die, she wouldn't be able to be at ease. But if he died, it would be a bit meaningless. Because I'm a good person, good people have a peaceful life. I can't be bothered with you, I'm going to put on makeup. Chapter 146. It was indeed a very important banquet. Even a bodyguard like Li Fan could only stand outside the hall, closing his eyes to rest while waiting for Lu Xinan to start the mission. According to the agreement, he would wait at the entrance of the banquet. Once everything was ready, he would immediately set off. At this time, Lu Xinan had already been inside for more than an hour. Although Li Fan was patient, time was of the essence. It was more important to get the national treasure as soon as possible. Otherwise, a long night would bring trouble. And if he missed this opportunity, it would be even more difficult to wait for the next one. Surveillance equipment switch complete. Cho Ao's voice came from the earpiece, wait for the next round of mission instructions. Everyone stay where you are. We'll wait for Miss to obtain the biological characteristics. Li Fan looked at the time, it was already past 9:00. If Lu Xinan didn't come out now, there might not be enough time. He wanted to rush into the hall, personally grab old man Yamada's head, and push him into the treasure vault to pass the inspection. But Li Fan knew that this was unlikely. After all, there were many experts in this house, and it was said that the treasure vault even had a self-destruct mechanism. Once it was activated, all the treasures would turn into ashes in an instant. Old man Yamada would rather die with the treasures than return them to the Chinese. This was Lu Xinan's evaluation of him. Li Fan waited patiently for a while longer. The door to the hall was finally pushed open. Lu Xinan walked out drunk and leaned into Li Fan's arms. Li Fan, have a drink with me. Lu Xinan hooked Li Fan's chin with one finger and looked at him flirtatiously. Snake woman, you've drunk too much. Li Fan gently pushed Lu Xinan away. Her body reeked of perfume and alcohol. The smell was chaotic, but it had a fatal attraction. Don't look down on me. Lu Xinan leaned on Li Fan's body softly. I won't get drunk even after 1,000 drinks. As she spoke, she took off her black-rimmed glasses and stuffed them into Li Fan's chest pocket. Keep it safe for me. Give it back to me tonight. These were smart glasses provided by Cho Ao. They could collect information about the other party's cornea, voice, and even fingerprints. In this day and age where technology was advancing by leaps and bounds, none of this was difficult. There was a smart chip on the glasses that was connected to Cho Ao's network. Yamada, that old pervert, he even wanted to take the opportunity to touch this lady's thigh. Lu Xinan lowered her voice and whispered into Li Fan's ear, this old man, why doesn't he take a piss and look at himself? You're old enough to be a grandfather, yet you're still so shameless. No matter how old a man is, he likes young women. Li Fan chuckled, especially the old men of the island, they like Lolas with no chest like you the most. Sometimes, I really want to tear your mouth. Lu Xinan breathed out the smell of alcohol and angrily looked at Li Fan. Li Fan, if you were like Guan Wenbao, obediently be a loyal dog by my side, how good would that be? Li Fan was about to refute, but she sighed again. But that way, it doesn't seem to have any pleasure. Training you, who are full of wild nature, is the most fun. Li Fan was ready to properly criticize and educate Lu Xinan. She actually compared him to a dog, and this time she compared him to a wild dog. That's enough. But Lu Xinan gently pushed Li Fan away. I should go back. Li Fan, I'll leave the national treasure to you. Why do people like you care so much about the national treasure? In order to hand it over to the country. Lu Xinan winked at Li Fan. Li Fan curled his lips. Only a ghost would believe it. She swayed her perky buttocks that were wrapped in a black evening gown and swayed her slender waist as she walked into the hall. She did not have much time to fight for, so Li Fan had to make the best use of his time. Li Fan immediately left the banquet hall and returned to the courtyard of Yamada's house. Old man Yamada's bedroom was in that ancient castle-like place. Li Fan walked to the corner and took off his suit jacket. Inside was a black hoodie. Li Fan pulled the hat over his head and put on the smart glasses. The surface of the smart glasses immediately turned black, but the light outside was still normal. At the same time, he also put on a black mask, trying his best to hide his appearance, not letting outsiders know his true identity. Li Fan took advantage of the night and silently sneaked into the castle. A bright moon hung at the top of the castle, making the castle look like a devil's city. There were several teams of bodyguards patrolling the lawn. Li Fan grabbed the surrounding bushes and hid back and forth, avoiding the patrol team's search. After all, this was old man Yamada's residence. The patrol team's protection was very cautious. Li Fan observed for a while, and there was almost no blind spot that he could enter. However, this was not a problem for Li Fan. He picked up a stone from the ground and threw it directly into the bushes at the side. The bushes shook, and the sound of the stone falling immediately attracted the attention of all the bodyguards. Taking advantage of this time, Li Fan used the ape's movement technique and instantly jumped out. Ape attack technique, Spirit Monkey Escape. This move was to make use of the time difference, making use of the other party's temporary shift of sight to perform a short displacement. Li Fan quickly arrived at the bottom of the castle. When the bodyguards retracted their sight, he had already jumped easily and nimbly landed on the balcony of the second floor. Then, he escaped into the room. Old man Yamada lived alone in such a big house. It was very spacious inside, and there seemed to be no human presence. Li Fan felt a little strange. This old man lived in such a place by himself. Why didn't he feel afraid? The layout of the entire room was also very uncomfortable. Regardless of whether it was the room or the corridor outside, there were portraits full of the smell of blood hanging on the side. Moreover, on this dark night, where the moonlight couldn't shine in, it made one's hair stand on end. If it wasn't for Li Fan's night vision, he would really have to retreat here. This is really a place that perverts like to live. According to the map, Li Fan stepped on the wooden stairs and went to Old Man Yamada's bedroom. If an ordinary person stepped on this kind of wooden stairs, there would definitely be a creaking sound. However, when Li Fan stepped on it, he was like a cat. He silently and lightly arrived at the fourth floor. Wherever he walked, the camera automatically entered a paused state. Cho Ao's operation was seamless, and the security guards in the monitoring room didn't notice anything strange. Li Fan walked into the bedroom and looked at the antique bedroom. He was still muttering in his heart. He was originally an ordinary high school student. He didn't expect that one day, he would actually embark on the path of treasure theft. Li Fan, you must work hard. Don't make any mistakes at such an important moment. Chapter 147. Li Fan took 2 deep breaths to calm himself down. He looked at the strange scrolls around him and began to mutter in his heart. Wouldn't people who lived in such a place all year round become perverted? Li Fan looked around. His smart glasses began to scan and analyze the scenery in the room. Cho Ao analyzed every scene and finally locked onto a book on the bookshelf. Li Fan followed Cho Ao's instructions and walked over. He stretched out his hand and pulled on the book. Boom! A trembling sound was heard. The opposite wall slowly opened and a high-tech elevator appeared in front of him. However, opening the door of the elevator required a cornea scan. Li Fan was already prepared. He walked forward and scanned his glasses with a laser. The cornea of the old man Yamada was perfectly imitated by the smart glasses. The door of the elevator was deceived by the fake cornea and was authorized to open slowly. Okay, the first step is passed. Cho Ao's voice was very calm as if he had already expected it. Next is the second step. Go 10 meters underground and pass the scan of the security door. Got it. Li Fan took the elevator all the way to the legendary treasury. There was only one corridor leading to the opposite side of the treasury. There were red lights in the corridor. Every 10 meters, there was a section that monitored the long corridor. Just as Cho Ao said, the scanning range of each section was 5 meters. He had to pass through one of the scanners within a second. The smart glasses marked the distance of each section for Li Fan's judgment. If he failed, the elevator would close and this place would be completely sealed. He had nowhere to escape. Whether this treasury would become his prison would depend on Li Fan's ability. He stood in front of a section of the scanning section and placed his hands on his dantian. A breath of true chi was raised. The most explosive form, Toad Strike. Li Fan's body lay on the ground. At this moment, the surrounding air seemed to be sucked in by Li Fan. He seemed to be able to sense the flow of air around him. At that moment, the flow of air slowed down, Cho Ao and Chi Seping looked at Li Fan's line of sight through the smart glasses. They realized that Li Fan was sprawled on the ground and felt a little strange. What was Li Fan doing? Why is he lying on the ground? Did he give up? The two of them couldn't figure it out. Suddenly, Lu Xinnan's anxious voice came through the earpiece. Get Li Fan to come back quickly. Old man Yamada suddenly went back. Li Fan, come back quickly. The mission has been abandoned. Chi Seping immediately gave the order. I'll do it as soon as possible. At this moment, Li Fan had entered the realm of a true martial artist. The world in his eyes became incomparably quiet, and the distance of 5 meters became several times clearer in his eyes. If he did not succeed, he would die. Li Fan, believe in yourself, you can do it. The vital energy in his body suddenly exploded. His arms and legs suddenly bounced, and his whole body was like a cannonball, rushing out in the blink of an eye. The two people in front of the video exclaimed. The camera was zooming in so quickly. This terrifying speed. Just what method is he using to move forward? Oh no. He's going to rush over. In less than a second, Li Fan had already jumped a distance of 5 meters. But he didn't stop. If he moved forward a little more, he would enter the next area. At that time, he wouldn't even have the time to accumulate energy to jump, and he would be captured by the next detector. But at this moment, Li Fan's hands suddenly grabbed the ground, and he forcefully changed into the state of Tiger Strike. His fingers grabbed the ground, and he stabilized his body. He dangerously stopped less than half a meter away from the next detector, and let out a long sigh of relief. I found the feeling. Li Fan had done something that ordinary people couldn't do. To a martial artist, it was to break through the limits of the body and challenge all kinds of impossible things. Li Fan prepared for a moment, and with Toad Strike as the lead, he once again jumped over the second scanning area. He was glad that no one saw him like this. It was a bit like a frog crossing a river. But after jumping twice, Li Fan also had a feeling. His body became lighter, and his control of his vital energy became better. Every time Li Fan jumped, he didn't need to accumulate energy. With a leap, he would jump out and land 5 meters away. With another leap, he jumped to the wall 5 meters away. He stayed on it for less than a second, and then jumped to the next position on the ceiling. Chi Seping and Cho Ao were dazzled in front of the camera. Where did this Li Fan come from? He completely violated the laws of physics. This person, is he really human? Cho Ao didn't understand, but Chi Seping frowned and said, I heard that he's a Chinese martial artist, and he practices Qigong or something. Qigong. How can such an unscientific thing exist? Cho Ao was a person who believed in science. He wouldn't believe in pseudoscience like Qigong. There must be a mistake somewhere. I heard that the US Pentagon is currently developing a combat suit for adults. I heard that after wearing it, it can greatly increase the strength of the human body. This youth called Li Fan might have made such a combat suit. That thing must be expensive. Can he get it? This explanation is more scientific. While the two of them were still guessing, Li Fan had already passed through the detection area with a series of unusual frog jumps, and arrived in front of the last door. This was the last layer of protection, and this door was voice-activated. Hello, Mr. Yamada. The voice-activated system on the door spoke. Hello. This smart glasses processed Li Fan's voice, and his voice became the same as Yamada's. Welcome, Mr. Yamada. The door opened to Li Fan, and a huge underground treasury appeared in front of Li Fan. This underground treasury was built to be very big, like a pagoda. Layer after layer, it was filled with all kinds of antiques, and even books, paintings, and so on. All of them were authentic and worth a lot. Li Fan even saw a legendary demon blade here, the Muramasa. This place is simply a treasure house of human civilization. Qi Seping looked at everything here, and the knowledgeable him couldn't help but exclaimed, "This place can be opened as a museum." Chou Wei also exclaimed, "This place is simply a place that can only be seen in a dream. What are you guys still doing here?" Lu Xinan had already ran back, holding a pair of high heels in her hand, and her hair was disheveled, and she seemed to be in a hurry. "Quickly get Li Fan out." Chapter 148. Get Li Fan out now, Lu Xinan urged. Old man Yamada has already gone back. He's in a hurry, but I don't know why. Did the plan get leaked, or was it detected from the surveillance? That shouldn't be the case. There's nothing wrong with the surveillance, and the internet is under our control. Qi Seping ruled out this possibility. Unless old man Yamada has some special anti-theft system, and when Li Fan entered the vault, he was notified outside of the network. If that's the case, Li Fan, hurry up and come out. Lu Xinan urged Li Fan. Or else it'll be too late. There's only this one chance. Li Fan's voice was steady. If I miss it, there won't be another chance. I must get the Imperial Jade Seal out. Since he was already here, Li Fan would not give up. He gave up on observing the other treasures and focused on looking for the Imperial Jade Seal made of black jade. Li Fan took 2 steps forward. In front of him were several rows of sculptures of girls. These sculptures looked very lifelike. They were about 13 or 14 years old, and their expressions were very lifelike. It should be the work of a master. And they're all naked. That old man Yamada is really a pervert. Li Fan curled his lips. Chou Ao, who was analyzing the data through the smart glasses, suddenly exclaimed. No, they're not sculptures. What do you mean? Li Fan asked subconsciously. Chou Ao continued, from the analysis of the data, these carvings have human cell reactions. You mean, they're all living people? Of course they're all living people. The voice that answered Li Fan came from behind. Li Fan turned around and saw old man Yamada standing behind him with a smile on his face. These adorable little angels will grow up one day. It hurts me to think that they won't be beautiful and pure in the future. So, I thought of this method to let them maintain their most beautiful appearance forever. Bastard! These girls were still too young, yet Yamada geezer could be so ruthless. It was simply sensational. Young man, you won't be able to understand the pursuit of beauty. If that's the case, then you can go to hell to accompany these girls. Yamada seemed to have guessed Li Fan's identity and had been speaking to him in Mandarin. Without any hesitation, Li Fan stepped forward to kill Yamada. Li Fan's figure swept away like a cool breeze, leaving behind an afterimage. His body suddenly hit the glass wall in front of him and stopped abruptly. The glass wall couldn't be seen at all. He didn't know when it appeared and blocked Li Fan's path. You think you're invincible, but you don't know that you're just a frog at the bottom of a well. Old man Yamada stood behind the glass wall and sneered at him. Little Chinese martial artist, do you really think you're the savior of the world? Today, I'll let you know what's called the immensity of heaven and earth. As he spoke, a green gas was released from the vent at the side, enveloping the treasury. Damn it, it's poisonous gas. Chou Ao analyzed this gas and finally became nervous. Damn it. Damn it. Lu Xinan was somewhat agitated. This bastard, I told him to retreat, but he refused to listen. While Li Fan was in this green gas, it made Li Fan feel dizzy. He felt his consciousness becoming more and more blurry and his head becoming heavier and heavier. Li Fan, Li Fan. Lu Xinan used the walkie-talkie to shout, trying to wake Li Fan up. But Li Fan only has a pure yang body. Although his cultivation is fast, he can't be immune to poison. These poisons have a very obvious effect on him. Li Fan didn't hold on for long before his eyes turned black. Lu Xinan's voice calling him seemed to be very far away, but also seemed to be very close to him. Li Fan felt as if he was floating, as if he had arrived at the clouds. The clouds were surrounded by beautiful fairies, revolving around him. Am I in heaven? I'm still young, I haven't even realized my ambition, and I'm already dead. Li Fan was somewhat vexed, but these emotions seemed to be very far away from him, and he couldn't even touch them. It was like these fairies in front of him seemed to be right in front of him, and he could reach out and touch them. But after reaching out and touching their bodies, he didn't feel anything at all. Looks like I'm really dead. It's a pity that I was still a virgin before I died. Forget it, being able to see these fairies is also good. If I can touch them, it would be even better. Without waiting for Li Fan to sigh, his body suddenly sank, and he fell from this heaven, like an angel falling to the mortal world. He suddenly fell, and when he woke up again, he was back in the treasure vault. The surrounding green smoke dissipated, and Li Fan saw that his body was naked. His hands and feet were handcuffed, and he was chained to a wooden plank-like torture device. This seemed to be one of Old Man Yamada's perverted collections, and it made Li Fan unable to move. And Old Man Yamada was sitting in front of him, and beside him were a few beautiful girls of similar age. Each of them was also naked, and they were serving Old Man Yamada, making Old Man Yamada's face full of satisfaction. These beautiful girls' necks were tied with chains, and their butts were stuffed with tails. They didn't look like little angels at all, and were clearly being reared like livestock. Old pervert, you sure are enjoying yourself. The signal here seemed to be blocked, and Li Fan's rice grain earphones couldn't receive any information. Even his smart glasses didn't work. I've worked hard my whole life to build this empire and family, why can't I enjoy myself? Yamada stretched out his right hand, and stroked the head of a female pet. I'm destined to change everything. If you want to go against me, you're going against the master of the future world. The master of the future world. Just by you. Li Fan laughed, I'm afraid it won't be long before you die. You're already so old, but you still have so many ideas. I won't die. I'm the chosen one. It was the Amaterasu god who gave me this life, I won't die so easily. A line popped up in Li Fan's mind, I won't die so easily. Li Fan, you're Lu Xinan's subordinate. Your kung fu isn't bad, I admire it. Yamada suddenly changed the topic, and suddenly extended an olive branch to Li Fan. If you follow that little girl, you won't have any development. As the saying goes, a fine bird chooses a good tree to nest in. What you mean by that is, you want me to jump ship? Li Fan made it clear. That's right, that's exactly what I mean. Yamada nodded, this is your only chance, and my gift to you. Chapter 149. Yamada's meaning was very clear. Two paths, follow him or die. Follow me, then you can enjoy true happiness. Yamada said and clapped his hands. A beautiful girl with a fox's tail on her butt crawled in front of Li Fan. Her eyes were a little dull as she used her small mouth to suck Li Fan's family jewels. Fuck, Li Fan's heart trembled. What the hell is this? Using the capitalist sugar-coated bullets to attack my proletariat strong heart. I grew up under the red flag and was born in the new society as a people's soldier. Such a small trick can't conquer me. I can't lick there. Li Fan was really on the verge of collapsing. He didn't expect that Old Man Yamada would play this trick. For a man, this kind of trick was really torturous. Whatever chili water or tiger stool, as long as a man had a bit of backbone, he could basically withstand it. But when it came to beauty, it was really hard to say. Lust was like a knife above the head. Even if Li Fan's heart was firm, his body's reaction at this moment couldn't lie. Especially since he was still a virgin. This kind of feeling that he had never experienced before made him have some uncontrollable greed. Li Fan, follow me, you can also enjoy these. Otherwise, hiss. It seemed that a beautiful girl had hurt him. Yamada pulled out a tachi and chopped off the beautiful girl's head. The beautiful girl's head rolled to Li Fan's feet. Her beautiful eyes were still open, and they were still so dull. The other beautiful girls didn't seem to feel anything as they continued to serve Yamada. Li Fan looked at the beautiful girl's head and was shocked. The woman under him didn't feel anything and continued to lick Li Fan, but Li Fan didn't feel any pleasure. His heart was filled with that woman's eyes before she died. Empty and powerless, as if her soul had long left this world. Li Fan's back was full of cold sweat, and his hair was trembling. He wasn't afraid of the dead, but this woman's gaze seemed to pierce through his soul. In Li Fan's eyes, such empty eyes seemed to be saying a few words. Help me. Stupid women can never become cute little angels. Old man Yamada wiped the blood off his katana. This kind of woman can only be cleansed with fresh blood. What a beast. Li Fan looked at him angrily. After you die, you will definitely go to hell. Are you rejecting me? Yamada looked at Li Fan curiously. What a strange persistence. What's so good about that woman, Lu Shinan, that you're willing to sacrifice your life for her? That's where you're wrong. Li Fan mocked, this has nothing to do with Lu Shinan at all. It's just that you're asking for a beating. Since that's the case, foolish Chinese. Old man Yamada's face darkened. Looks like I overestimated your intelligence. You Chinese always like to fight among yourselves. The Lu family is only being used by me. Now that I have a better partner, the other party's condition is to take Lu Shinan's life. If she dies, none of you will be able to escape. Japanese, you're looking down on us Chinese. Li Fan snorted. Although I don't like that woman, I hate animals like you even more. Too stupid. Old man Yamada sighed. Since you don't want to live, then die. With that, Old man Yamada picked up a gun and pointed it at Li Fan's chest. Since you can't be used by me, then I'll destroy you. The gun was pointed at Li Fan. To be honest, Li Fan was really nervous at that moment. It was impossible to say that a person wasn't afraid of death. In this world, who wasn't afraid of death? Especially since Li Fan was still young. His future was limitless. It was impossible for him to not be afraid of a gun pointed at him. But even if he was afraid, he couldn't admit defeat. He had to think of a way. Li Fan's Dantian Qi was raised by him, and then he suddenly let out a loud shout. Fierce tiger roar. This loud roar resounded throughout the entire treasury. At this moment, everyone's ears buzzed. For a moment, they were in a daze. Old man Yamada's gun tilted and the bullet was shot at the top of Li Fan's head. Li Fan's world suddenly slowed down. This was an extraordinary feeling that he had when he was in a difficult situation. The bullet's trajectory slowed down infinitely in his eyes. It was like a slow-motion scene in a movie. The qi in his body seemed to have rushed out of his body and was released outside of his body. His qi was like an extension of himself. It caught the bullet and wrapped it into a ball. Li Fan felt that this technique of using qi to control an object was not like his 7-gallon fist. Even if it was the toad strike technique, there was no way to make true qi so flexible. This qi circulation technique was more like the minor phaseless divine art. Li Baihu's minor phaseless divine art was to spread qi outside of his body. It formed an invisible layer of astral energy and strengthened his body's defense. It was probably because he had absorbed a portion of the minor phaseless god technique that he had inherited some of its abilities. Who would have thought that this ability would actually save his life at a crucial moment? The bullet was wrapped by Li Fan's chi. It changed the direction of the bullet and finally hit the handcuff on Li Fan's right hand. Bang! The handcuff on the right hand was broken by the bullet. Li Fan immediately raised his right hand and grabbed the left handcuff and twisted it. Snap! The left handcuff was broken by him. Li Fan bent down and broke the handcuff on his foot. Now, it's my time. Li Fan clenched his fist and sneered at Yamada, whose eyes were filled with shock. Didn't you enjoy torturing me earlier? Li Fan's eyes flashed with killing intent. In China, there is a saying, the gods are watching. Yamada, you have done so many crazy things. Aren't you afraid of retribution? I am the person chosen by Amaterasu God. How can there be retribution? Yamada did not seem to be aware of it. He continued to arrogantly say, I, Yamada Kazuo, am different from the masses. These women, they were able to receive my favor and be transformed into eternal angels. It is their honor. Honor, what the hell are you cursing? Li Fan couldn't help but curse, you're just a twisted pervert, don't pretend to be a fool here. Today, young master will take care of you scum. With that, Li Fan's naked body suddenly jumped up and sent a palm towards old man Yamada. Those beautiful girls stared blankly at the side, but Yamada Geezer raised one of his hands and blocked Li Fan's slap. Chapter 150. Although this woman was also from the island, they were, after all, living beings. Li Fan would definitely not harm the innocent, nor could he bear to do so. This is the difference between him and the old man Yamada. Just as Li Fan's palm was about to touch the beautiful girl's forehead, he forcefully stopped. But at this time, a fist pierced through the beautiful girl's chest and hit Li Fan's body. Puff! Li Fan spat out a mouthful of blood as his body flew out, heavily crashing into the wall behind him, and then fell to the ground. The strength of this blow was really not light. Li Fan felt as if all the bones in his body had been broken. This old thing, he hit it so deeply. He is definitely an inner force expert. It's been a long time since I've exercised my muscles and bones. I didn't expect that I would still have some strength. The old man Yamada pulled out his blood-stained hand from the girl's chest, and then, like throwing away trash, he casually threw the girl to the side. Sheena. When I was working with the Liu family, I never called them that. After all, they are partners, so I have to give them some face. The old man Yamada looked at Li Fan who was lying there. To be honest, I still like this country, Sheena. 1,000 years ago, Sheena was still a powerful country. But now, Sheena has already declined, and cannot be compared to my great Japan kingdom. You may say that I look down on you, but everyone is the same, and has always been hostile to each other. Just like inner force, I'm afraid you never thought that I would also be a martial artist, he. Old man, wait a minute, don't you have the slightest bit of pity in your heart? Looking at the girl lying in a pool of blood, Li Fan could not help but be enraged. This old man Yamada is an out-and-out beast. He can even be so cruel to his own compatriots. And in front of outsiders, he still has to pretend to be kind. She's just an ant, why should I pity her? Yamada said disdainfully, when I return, I will add her heart and make it into an angel sculpture. Then, she can stay by my side forever. What a fucking old pervert. Li Fan cursed, today, I will punish you on behalf of God. With your mediocre martial arts. Yamada chuckled. Sheena boy, don't underestimate our country's martial arts world. As he spoke, his originally thin and weak body suddenly began to show chunks of muscles, as if they were being blown up. Now, only his face could tell that he was an old man. Just by looking at his body, one would think that he was a strong young man. Your Chinese martial arts have declined, but it is flourishing in my Japan. Old man Yamada boasted shamelessly, my country's martial arts is the true orthodox martial arts. This is what I have learned all my life, Vajra Fist. I have already reached the peak of perfection and possess the strength of 9 bulls and 2 dragons. How can you defeat me? Even if you are the king of heaven, young master will defeat you today. While Li Fan was talking to Yamada, he was still adjusting his internal energy. Yamada's punch just now did indeed injure him, but it was still within a controllable range. Truly foolish. You have been hit by my Vajra subduing demon fist. Your internal organs have already been destroyed by me. I'm afraid you won't be able to live for long. Even if you can survive, you will have to rely on a wheelchair for the rest of your life. Old man Yamada was very confident. His Vajra subduing demon fist was extremely destructive. A small Chinese martial artist, he did not even put him in his eyes. Let me end your last breath. Old man Yamada said as he walked over step by step. Standing tall in front of Li Fan, he extended his fist and aimed it at his head. Die! Old man Yamada's fist smashed down, preparing to kill in one blow. But at this time, Li Fan suddenly raised his right fist and blocked old man Yamada's fist. The two people's chis collided. Because old man Yamada was careless, he did not use his full strength, and was actually blocked by Li Fan's attack. Just as he was about to withdraw his fist and give Li Fan another punch, the corner of Li Fan's mouth raised. Dragon Toad Ingestion. Although she had promised Guan Wenbao that she would never use such a crazy move again. But against a scum like Yamada, there was no need to talk about humanitarian. At the place where their fists met, Li Fan's energy suddenly began to flow backward. Like a black hole, it instantly began to absorb the true energy from old man Yamada's body. Nanny. Even Yamada's expression changed at this moment. He lost his previous arrogant look. His originally strong muscles began to wither bit by bit. Just as Li Fan expected, these muscles were forcibly created by his true energy. Break. Yamada knew that if this continued, the true energy in his body would be sucked dry. But his inner force was strong. How could a person like Li Wenjue be compared to him? He actually forcefully broke the true energy link with Li Fan and retreated 3 steps. His expression was very ugly. What kind of evil technique is this? Yamada was very shocked. He looked at Li Fan's face as if he was looking at a demon god. A technique that specializes in dealing with scum. Li Fan had absorbed some of the King Kong devil force. Although he still needed time to refine it, he had temporarily weakened Yamada. This was his goal. This old man's strength was actually at the peak of perfection. It was indeed out of Li Fan's expectations. But no matter how strong he was, when faced with Dragon Toad Ingestion, he had to obediently admit defeat. Interesting technique. Unexpectedly, old man Yamada suddenly became excited. It was the Amaterasu god who sent you to me. If I absorb other people's true energy, my body might be able to maintain eternal youth and become immortal. Dream on. Why don't you ascend to the heavens? Li Fan rolled his eyes. Wanting to learn his Dragon Toad Ingestion, he must have the talent to do so. Without a pure yang body, how can he learn Dragon Toad Ingestion? You have committed all sorts of evil deeds. Your crimes are heinous and you still want to live forever. The heavens are watching what you do. I was not sent here by your god to help you. I am here to send you to hell. As Li Fan spoke, he took a deep breath and entered the state of the bear strike. Bear. Mount. Army. Li Fan's body started to swell, becoming even more majestic and mighty. At the same time, the King Kong devil force that he had absorbed into his body seemed to be very compatible and fused into Li Fan's bear cavalry strength. A layer of black light appeared on his skin. Ah, my King Kong devil force. Old man Yamada subconsciously became angry. This was a technique that he had trained for tens of years. It was actually so easily taken away by the other party. I will turn you into a human tree and think of a way to steal all the true energy from your body. Yamada's eyes were filled with greed as he once again gathered his true energy. Chapter 151. Yamada had lost at least 10 tigers worth of strength because Li Fan had absorbed a portion of his strength. Although it was only for a few seconds, he had lost at least 10 tigers worth of strength. Although he could slowly cultivate it back in the future, he was unable to completely suppress Li Fan in a short period of time. Li Fan also felt the changes brought about by the bear cavalry soldier. When he entered this state, his strength seemed to be even more explosive and destructive. Since that was the case, he would use this move to deal with Yamada. So what if I've plundered a bit of strength? I'm the god's chosen warrior. As he spoke, Yamada's body suddenly swelled up. His muscles bulged again, but they were obviously not as robust as before. Right now, Yamada was only left with the strength of 9 tigers. He was still confident that he could get rid of Li Fan, who had the strength of 5 tigers. I've trained hard for more than 40 years. How can a little kid like you defeat me? I've absorbed the strength of 10 tigers and refined it into my body. Although it's only 1 tiger, it's enough to beat you, who's worse than a beast. As Li Fan spoke, he clenched his fists and made cracking sounds. 9 tigers against 6 tigers. It might seem like Li Fan was at a disadvantage, but he was full of confidence. If he couldn't even beat a scum, what was the point of practicing martial arts? Kid from China. Die. At this time, Yamada had completely abandoned his hypocritical face and completely replaced it with a ferocious face. He raised his fist and punched at Li Fan. Vajra Demon subduing first style. This fist went straight for Li Fan's chest, but Li Fan used his own chest to receive this punch. Bang! Chi burst out from behind Li Fan. Blood flowed out of his mouth. But at the same time, he raised his palm and slapped Yamada's chin from the bottom up. Boom! Yamada's body flew high into the air and smashed into the ceiling. Then, he fell to the ground. Li Fan caught the falling Yamada and did a beautiful shoulder throw, smashing him to the ground. Dang! The ground shook heavily. Yamada's body was smashed to the ground. However, he quickly leaped up and dodged Li Fan's attack. A deep footprint was left on the ground, shocking Yamada to see. If that kick had landed on his body, he would have lost half his life. Damn it! Yamada turned around and punched Li Fan's body. Li Fan once again used his own body to receive the punches. At the same time, he grabbed Yamada's body and lifted him up. Bear King raises the cauldron. This move was Li Fan's unique skill. Li Fan's entire body strength was gathered in his hands. This move was called tearing the devil with bare hands. His hands forcefully pulled Yamada's body, and it looked like he was about to tear Yamada's body into 2. However, Yamada was no fool. This old man was cunning and had already guessed Li Fan's intentions. He hurriedly spread his true chi all over his body, strengthening his physical defense. Li Fan did not manage to tear Yamada's body apart, but he still managed to tear off one of his arms. Fresh blood poured down like rain, accompanied by Yamada's scream. That arm was thrown to the side. Yamada's body rolled in the air, fell to the ground, and curled up into a ball. He held his broken arm and poked it a few times to stop the bleeding. His face was full of shock and anger. He did not expect that he would suffer such a big loss at the hands of Li Fan. Baka! He could not help but curse. Li Fan was obviously a young Chinese martial artist, and his strength was not as good as him. Why did he suffer such a big loss at the hands of Li Fan? After losing an arm, Yamada's strength was greatly reduced. He was no longer able to deal with Li Fan. His body also began to shake off, and he returned to the appearance of an ordinary old man. Yamada Kazuo, your end is here. Li Fan's body was also turbulent. Just now, he relied on his own body to take 2 blows. That feeling was really not good. However, the effect was indeed obvious. Relying on the advantage of the pure yang body's quick recovery, he was able to beat Yamada Kazuo, who was 1 level higher than him, down. Li Fan looked left and right, then stretched out his hand and pulled out the demon blade Miramesa. This blade is suitable for beheading a dog head. Don't kill me. Spare my life. I am willing to guarantee you a lifetime of glory and splendor. Yamada Kazuo leaned on the chair next to him and said to Li Fan, I will fight for my life of glory and splendor myself. You don't have to worry about me. Li Fan smiled, and Yamada Kazuo quickly said, I can give you all my family property. Please don't kill me. I don't want to die. All of Yamada Kazuo's family property was not a small temptation. And this treasury, it will all be yours from now on. The wealth here is enough to rival a world museum. Yamada Kazuo saw that Li Fan seemed to be tempted, so he quickly added fuel to the fire. But at this moment, a beautiful girl with dull eyes suddenly moved. She reached out and pulled out a Mongolian knife from the knife rack next to her. Li Fan did not expect that such a delicate young girl could actually burst out such a powerful force with that small body. Shwa! The knife flashed. Yamada Kazuo's head flew high and rolled on the ground. This girl did not stop after killing Yamada Kazuo. Instead, she continued to walk over. One by one, she chopped off the heads of the other girls. Li Fan was very shocked. He stood there, unable to say a word as he watched this girl kill everyone. Ariadu. The girl looked at Li Fan and smiled sweetly at him. This smile seemed to be filled with relief and gratitude. She reached out and pressed a switch on the side. The door of the treasury slowly opened, and the passage to the outside was also opened. Why don't you escape with me? Li Fan did not know if this girl could understand Chinese, but he extended his hand to her. His intention was very clear. But the girl just smiled and took 2 steps back. She lifted the slightly warped Mongolian saber and placed it against her own neck. Then, she gave it a tug. Blood splattered out and the long knife in the girl's hand fell to the ground. It was a little dazzling. Li Fan did not react for a long time. In the end, he sighed softly. Perhaps this was the only way for him to truly be free. Li Fan searched the treasury and found the heirloom imperial jade seal in a black wooden box. This heirloom imperial jade seal was made of black jade. There was a dragon coiled on it. It was vivid and lifelike. This was a priceless treasure. Li Fan did not dare to casually touch it for fear of accidentally breaking it. He carefully put the box away and found his clothes on the ground. In the room full of corpses, he calmly put his clothes back on. Chapter 152. When Li Fan walked out, there was no one else in Yamada Kazuo's bedroom. He stretched out his hand, twisted the bookshelf, and the door of the passage slowly closed. From now on, no one would be able to enter this treasury anymore. Let those endless treasures be buried with these pitiful girls. Li Fan had some regrets in his heart. If he had given one of the treasures to himself, he could have become a rich man. But it was not something he should take, so he didn't take it. Moreover, this place was very safe, and he had Yamada Kazuo's physical characteristics in his hands. If he wanted to get these treasures, he could come over at any time. This place would become his treasure house, but the only difficult thing was Lu Xinnan. He had to find a way to make her give up this treasure house. Li Fan tidied up his shirt, put on his mask, and turned on the smart glasses Black Mirror mode. Then, under the cover of the night, he quietly hid in the darkness and disappeared from the castle. At this moment, Lu Xinnan placed her mobile phone on the table. On the mobile phone was a silly photo of Li Fan, and next to the photo were candles, apples, pears, and so on. Lu Xinnan stood in front, and the 5 members of Qi Zeping's team stood behind. Everyone looked sad and solemn, as if they were mourning for a martyr. Lu Xinnan was still holding 3 cigarettes in her hand, and her eyes were full of regret as she said to Li Fan's photo. Li Fan, although we usually can't get along, you are after all a good person, a real man. Although you are a little ugly, have a bad temper, a bad character, no money, no height, and no taste. But after all, death is a big deal, so I won't talk about these shortcomings. In short, you are generally a good person. I hope you can go to heaven after death. Qi Zeping and the others at the back also sighed. I hope Brother Li Fan can have a good journey. You don't have to worry about your family, we will take care of them for you. But, eldest miss, are we really not going to save him? Cho Ao seemed to admire Li Fan a little. From the looks of it, he had even set up a mourning hole. It was clear that he had abandoned Li Fan. Don't talk nonsense. Qi Zeping reprimanded Cho Ao, but his voice was not serious. Obviously, he felt sorry for Li Fan. After all, Li Fan had saved them twice. Sigh, I also want to save him, but unfortunately, I don't have the strength to do so. Lu Xinnan was also very uncomfortable in her heart. Li Fan was dead. She always felt that she was missing something. But now is not the time to be impulsive. We are still in someone else's territory. When I return to China, I will think of a way to avenge Li Fan. Eldest miss, as long as you say the word, the 5 of us will immediately go and save him. Qi Zeping suddenly said, I will act as an individual and will definitely not drag the first miss down. If the 5 of you can rush in, why would I need to carefully arrange this plan?
Lu Xinnan frowned and looked at him. Qi Zeping, how can you say such words? Is this the time to be impulsive? The 5 of you don't even have weapons. Are you going to send yourself to death? Although I don't care about your lives, I am too lazy to cause trouble. Do you understand? Don't forget, you are my bodyguards, not mercenaries. Your mission is to protect me, do you understand? Yes, eldest miss. Qi Zeping could only lower his head. Everything was decided by the employer. Eldest miss, then what do we do next? Qi Zeping could only ask. Let's return to China first. This was the only choice for Lu Xinnan. If she wanted everyone to be safe, this was the only way. Li Fan, oh Li Fan, I am sorry, I can only give up on you. Lu Xinnan. You abandoned me? You will die a horrible death. At this moment, a familiar voice sounded in the room, echoing in everyone's ears. Hearing this voice, Lu Xinnan was so scared that she almost fell to the ground. Qi Zeping and the others also frowned. Lu Xinnan. I'm going to kill you. The voice became clearer and clearer, as if it was close to their ears. Lu Xinnan thought of all kinds of horror movies and had the urge to pee again. She knelt on the ground and did not even have the strength to escape. Who's playing tricks? Come out quickly. Qi Zeping pulled out his baton and looked around vigilantly. He did not believe in ghosts, it was definitely someone playing tricks. I am. Li Fan. Nonsense. Li Fan is already dead. Chi Seping also swallowed his saliva, while Lu Xingnan cried, Li Fan, I was wrong. I will definitely burn more paper money for you during the holidays, and burn some girls' photos for you. I will let you live happily in the underworld, hug girls on your left and right, and enjoy all the blessings that you can't enjoy in the human world. But I only like you. I want you to come down to accompany me. Hoo, I'm not good. My chest is very small. It doesn't feel good. I promise to burn 2 photos of girls with big breasts for you. Please let me go. As the saying goes, if you don't do anything shameful, you won't be afraid of ghosts knocking at your door in the middle of the night. Nobody knew when Li Fan sat on the sofa, looking at Lu Xingnan, who was begging for mercy. Snake woman, you usually do too many shameful things, that's why you are so scared now. You, Lu Xingnan saw Li Fan sitting there, fine, and slowly came to her senses. Are you a human or a ghost, miss? He is a human. Chi Seping carefully looked at Li Fan, and then looked surprised. This usually calm big guy, today's expression could be made into an emoji pack. You're actually fine. Of course, but I have to disappoint Miss Lu. Li Fan glanced at his own beer, and could not help but be amazed, to be able to see his own beer. I guess I'm the first person.
Humph. Li Fan, you'd better die. You're still alive and only know how to scare me. Lu Xinnan's legs really went soft. After a long time, she barely got up by holding the table. If I knew this, I wouldn't have cared about you. It would be better if you died without a beer. I said, good people live a peaceful life. How can I die so easily? But, you came out. What about Yamada Kazuo? Lu Xinnan seemed to think of something. That perverted old man will never come out. Li Fan sneered. To be able to let so many treasures accompany him, his death can be considered to be worthwhile. Lu Xinnan and the others looked at each other. Yamada Kazuo just died? What about the Imperial Jade Seal? Where is it? Lu Xinnan finally asked the question, but Li Fan hesitated. Chapter 153. Li Fan is indeed hesitant about whether he should give the Imperial Jade Seal to Lu Xinnan or not. This is indeed a problem. Although Lu Xinnan seems to be on the same side as him, this kind of thing is hard to say. The Imperial Jade Seal is a priceless treasure. If it is sold in the black market overseas, it can make a person rich overnight. That amount of money can definitely be used for several lifetimes. If Lu Xinnan betrays him and sells the Imperial Jade Seal, then all his efforts would be in vain. Why? If I say that I didn't find it, you won't believe me. Li Fan sighs. After all, the Imperial Jade Seal is hanging on his waist. If he says that he doesn't have it, if Lu Xinnan believes him, how low is her IQ? Are you afraid that I will sell it? Lu Xinnan smiles. Li Fan, you look down on this lady too much. This lady is not short of money. This Imperial Jade Seal belongs to our ancestors. I will absolutely not give it to a foreigner. Then where are you going to send it? To the country. You take it. Lu Xinnan says naturally, you can choose how to deal with it. As long as you don't sell it to a foreigner, I won't interfere. After all, this is something that you risked your life to get back. I, Lu Xinnan, live in the underworld and I am righteous. These words are somewhat out of Li Fan's expectation. From Lu Xinnan's mouth, she can actually say such righteous words. Unbelievable. Li Fan feels that he misheard. Are we going back now? However, since the other party wants to leave the Imperial Jade Seal with him, Li Fan doesn't say anything else. This treasure, he is going to give it to the country's museum. This thing doesn't belong to him. It belongs to all the Chinese descendants. However, how to return it to the country is a bit difficult. After all, this thing has an illegal origin. He needs to think of a proper excuse. We'll stay here tonight and fly back tomorrow morning. Lu Xinan said generously, after all, we haven't been exposed, and Yamada Kazuo died without anyone knowing. I'm afraid that it will take a few days for everyone to find out about his disappearance. Lu Xinan glanced at Qi Zeping and the others. After we return this time, your mission will be over. Nothing ever happened between us, right? Yes, we only protected the young miss for 2 days and 2 nights. Qi Zeping nodded. The reason why he could become an internationally renowned bodyguard master was inseparable from his professionalism. Lu Xinan ordered Qi Zeping and the others to remove the beer, and then returned to her room to take a shower. Li Fan was sitting on the sofa in the bedroom with his legs crossed. He was focused on refining the energy he had absorbed during the day. In the past, he had really underestimated this world. Who would have thought that he would actually meet an expert who had reached the peak of perfection in the island nation? If he did not have the dragon toad's absorption of water, this heaven-defying demonic attack, he would probably be finished this time. Muronging was right. Don't look down on the heroes of the world. There is always someone better than you in the world. Yamada Kazuo cultivates the Vajra demon subduing power, which is a very overbearing and destructive energy. Li Fan merged this energy with the bear cavalry, allowing his 7-hero fist to advance a step further. Last time, Li Fan merged the lesser phaseless divine technique into the Toad Strike technique. In his 7-hero fist, only the Toad Strike technique is a technique that uses energy to attack. Although it is slightly different from the lesser phaseless divine technique, it is the same. Today, the lesser phaseless divine technique saved his life, leaving a deep impression on Li Fan. Can I use the Toad Strike technique to make better use of this energy? He sat on the sofa and slowly opened his eyes. The 4 balls of smoke above his head slowly dispersed. Li Fan felt the changes in his dantian. He silently entered the state of the Toad Strike technique. In this state, Li Fan could clearly feel the flow of his energy. The energy was like an extension of his body, allowing him to move it flexibly. Muronging said that there are 3 major difficulties in learning martial arts. They are abnormal bone changing, turning illusion into reality, and heart demon unification. My bear cavalry can achieve the effect of abnormal bone changing, then can the Toad Strike technique also achieve the realm of turning illusion into reality? Li Fan let the energy in his body flow quickly. The energy in his dantian rotated 3 times faster than usual. He opened his mouth and took in a mouthful of oxygen. To put it bluntly, energy is a powerful energy in the body. In order to mobilize this energy, you must have the assistance of oxygen. The more oxygen is provided, the more powerful the small motor that is the heart will beat, and the energy will naturally come out. The air in the room seemed to be sucked into Li Fan's mouth. He swallowed the oxygen into his abdomen and integrated it into his blood. At this moment, the energy also seemed to be boiling, and became more energetic. Li Fan stretched out his hands and placed them in front of him. The energy exploded from his palms and fused in front of him, forming a ball of white energy. This ball of energy condensed into a ball, the size of a soccer ball. It constantly rotated between Li Fan's hands. The golden toad spitting pearl. This ball of energy was the chi pearl in Li Fan's hands. Li Fan slowly opened his hands, and the chi pearl became bigger and bigger, slowly becoming the size of a basketball. No. Not enough. I can still go further. Li Fan tried to make the chi pearl bigger, but it seemed to have reached a limit. The chi pearl could only maintain the size of a basketball. He stretched out his hand, and the chi pearl flew out and floated in the air. It was like a bright white moon, illuminating the entire house. Li Fan looked at the bright moon formed by the chi pearl, and felt that the other party was like a part of his body. Turning illusory into reality, it seemed that he was still unable to make this ball of energy turn into a cherry blossom like Muronging. After all, he needed to reach a legendary realm in order to comprehend it. But could he change the shape of this chi pearl? Li Fan stretched out his hands, as if he was pinching the chi pearl out of thin air. The shape of this chi pearl was constantly changing, as if it was related to the state of Li Fan's cultivation. The chi pearl slowly turned into the shape of a toad. Ai, why is it a toad? It's too ugly. Li Fan tried to improve it. The toad's body rolled, and finally turned into a tiger crawling on the ground. Sure enough. Although he was unable to turn illusory into reality, Li Fan could change the shape of the chi pearl. This kind of true chi attack with shape was much more imposing than a ball of chi pearl. Just as Li Fan was trying to change the shape of the immortal crane, the bathroom door behind him suddenly opened. Li Fan was startled, and the ball of energy burst like a balloon. What is this? Magic? Lu Xinan stood there, smiling like a flower at Li Fan. Chapter 154. I can't believe you saw it. Li Fan sighs. Actually, I am the martial song star that descended from the heavens to settle the injustice in the mortal world. Before I descended to the mortal world, the Jade Emperor repeatedly exhorted me not to let mortals discover my identity. Once discovered, I must get rid of this mortal. Ai, it seems like I can only kill you to silence you. As Li Fan speaks, he stretches out his right hand and aims his palm at Lu Xinan in front of him. He releases his chi and directly forms a ball that wraps around Lu Xinan's neck. Lu Xinan feels like someone is choking her neck. She has difficulty breathing and her face turns pale. Another discovery of Li Fan's was that true chi was infinitely useful. If he uses his chi to deal with ordinary people, it seems to be more effective. Lu Xinan struggles for a bit. Li Fan is just teasing her and suddenly loosens his right hand. You bastard. Cough cough. Cough. Lu Xinan is unable to breathe for a long time. She squats on the ground and coughs violently. Li Fan looks at his right hand. Just like what Li Wenjue had said, after he gained power, he is definitely an anomaly in the eyes of ordinary people. His every move can affect an ordinary person's life. As long as he has a thought, he can instantly pinch Lu Xinan to death. Li Fan did not want to make a move earlier. He just wanted to tease Lu Xinan. But for some reason, he suddenly stretches out his hand and grabs Lu Xinan's throat. At that moment, in his eyes, Lu Xinan is like an ant, extremely fragile. Heart Devil enters the body. Although this toad strike technique is powerful after fusing with small phaseless divine technique, it still needs to be resolved. You bastard! Are you going to kill me? Lu Xinan almost died. She still has lingering fear. Sorry. Just now I was a bit heavy. I just wanted to tease you. Li Fan was a little ashamed, but Lu Xinan had already caught her breath. You bastard. I can see that you did it on purpose. This miss hates you to death. How about I stand here and you beat me up to vent your anger? Li Fan placed his hands behind his back. I will never make a move. Humph, I don't want to dirty my hands by hitting you. Lu Xinan glared at Li Fan. You have to make it up to me. Compensation. What compensation do you want? Let me think. Lu Xinan rubbed her chin and glanced at Li Fan. Why don't you devote yourself to me? That won't do. Li Fan smiled. Even if you have such thoughts, I haven't. I seem to have a fiancé, so my heart will definitely not change. You bastard, can't I even throw myself at you? No. Which part of me can't? There are many people chasing after this miss. This miss has both looks and money. You don't have any chest. Go to hell. Lu Xinan's lungs were about to explode from anger, but she suddenly thought of something and said to Li Fan. Li Fan, you see, the two of us getting to know each other is fate, right? That's true, although it's an ill-fated fate. Humph. Lu Xinan was unhappy. Li Fan, this bastard, he didn't even throw himself at me. Is there something wrong with his brain, or is he purposely making things difficult for me? This big bastard. Li Fan, you will regret it sooner or later. Because of what you have said today. Lu Xinan said fiercely. This time, this rich young lady's self-esteem was really hurt. I won't. I am a person who will stick to my words. Li Fan said with certainty, I will never change. Since you're so heartless, then I only have one thing to ask of you. Lu Xinan suddenly sighed faintly. Anyway, after this mission, we basically won't contact each other anymore. Can you promise me one thing? What is it? Can you give me a farewell kiss? Lu Xinan was very sad. Although I hate you, you still saved me several times. I, Lu Xinan, am not an unethical person. Because of the contract, I can't give you more money. But a debt must be paid with my body. Can you let me kiss you? This. Li Fan was a bit surprised. He didn't expect Lu Xinan to come up with such an idea. Looking at her pleading eyes, Li Fan's heart softened a bit. This was the first time this rich young lady showed this kind of eyes. Her lips were a little red, and they were a little damp, carrying a tempting sense of guilt. Can I? A beautiful woman begging him like this, any man would find it hard to refuse. If it's just a kiss, it shouldn't be a problem. The fate between him and Lu Xinan, it would be good to end it with a kiss. Li Fan softened and nodded, okay, but you have to be gentle. Okay. Lu Xinan walked forward, hooked her hands on Li Fan's shoulders, and then breathed into his ear. Li Fan. You must not forget me in the future. With that, Lu Xinan kissed Li Fan's lips. Although Lu Xinan's character wasn't good, her lips were soft and had a sweet taste. Li Fan muttered in his heart, is this considered as a clandestine love affair? That sweet feeling in his heart made Li Fan somewhat intoxicated. For a moment, his breathing was somewhat messed up. It was obviously not the first time they kissed, but why did he have this kind of feeling? Li Fan couldn't figure it out, but his eyes were getting darker and darker, and his eyelids seemed to be getting heavier. Li Fan wanted to cheer up, but he was powerless. Could it be? I have consumed too much of my true qi, and am too tired. But Li Fan saw the smile on Lu Xinan's lips. This woman. She did it on purpose. Damn it. Sure enough, heroes have a weakness for the charms of a beautiful woman. I have been on guard, but I actually forgot to guard against this move. Fine. You win. Li Fan only had time to say this sentence, and then completely fainted. He vaguely felt that he saw the black and white impermanence. The two of them put a rope around his neck, and took him to hell. In this hell, there was a row of beautiful girls, as if they were welcoming him. And Yamada Kazuo stood in front of him, with a grin on his face. He, you're finally here, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Li Fan's whole body was cold, am I going to die like this? Looking at the corpses surrounding him, Li Fan's heart trembled. He woke up with a start and found that he was lying on a tatami. Sir, you're awake. A maid of the Yamada family was kneeling beside him, respectfully handed over a hot towel, please apply it to your face. Thank you. Li Fan took the towel and wiped his face, wiping the cold sweat on his forehead. Where's Lu Xinan? Chapter 155. Mr. Li, Miss Lu has already left first. After Li Fan woke up, he understood what had happened last night. He had underestimated Lu Xinan. The reason why this woman was able to do well in a city and run such a big business for his father, she was definitely not an easy woman to get along with. Although she was not as good at arguing as him, she was very cunning. This time, she had played a good game of chess. With a kiss, she had turned him upside down. Li Fan looked around. Lu Xinan had only left him a note. See you if fate wills it. Fuck your grandpa. The next time I see you, I promise to send you to heaven. Now that he could not take a personal plane, the most important thing was that Li Fan did not bring his passport when he left. He was just a high school student, where would he get his passport from? Now that he had entered the country illegally, it would be a huge problem for him to go back. Damn Lu Xinan, she had left him in Japan just like that. He still had to go to school tomorrow. He had to think of a way to rush back. Do you know how I can get back to China? Li Fan could only ask the maid. When Miss Lu left, she had already instructed me. The maid nodded. The helicopter to China is already waiting for you at the tarmac. That's more like it. Li Fan heaved a sigh of relief. Damn it, this Lu Xinan was not too heartless. The two of them had cheated each other for so long, and it could be considered a habit. Since she had left a way out for him, it was not to the point where they would fall out. However, he still had to think of a way to get the Imperial Jade seal back. There was no way he could get something out of his hands. Li Fan washed up simply and was not in the mood to eat breakfast. He put on the black windbreaker that Lu Xinan had left for him and followed the maid to the tarmac. A small white helicopter was parked there, quietly waiting for Li Fan. The pilot sat there, and the maid walked forward and said a few words to him in Japanese. Okay. The pilot nodded, and the maid invited Li Fan to board the helicopter. The propeller started to spin, and the helicopter slowly lifted off. The maid covered her disheveled skirt and shouted at Li Fan. Sir, please wear your umbrella bag properly. She yelled hysterically at the top of her lungs. The plane did not have permission to land. So, you can only parachute by yourself. What? Before Li Fan could ask clearly, the helicopter had already flown high into the air and headed in the direction of City A. Li Fan almost collapsed. Fuck, are you kidding me? I don't know how to parachute. Stop, I don't know how to parachute. Li Fan shouted at the driver, but the driver did not understand Chinese, so he encouraged Li Fan with a bunch of Japanese. Li Fan extended his hand and pointed at the ground. The pilot smiled. Li Fan thought he understood, but unexpectedly, he stretched out his right hand and gave him a thumbs up. Following that, the helicopter flew even higher. Fuck me. Did this big brother think that I said he didn't fly high enough? Li Fan was about to collapse this time. This was too much of a scam. Did he have to play so big? I really don't know how to parachute. Li Fan could only cry as he looked at the vast earth below. He thought to himself, I don't want to go to the sky anymore. Since he was already here, Li Fan simply meditated and adjusted his breathing. After an unknown period of time, the pilot woke up Li Fan. He opened his eyes and saw the familiar night view of City A. He didn't expect that when he flew over, it would already be night time. The pilot made a gesture of refueling at Li Fan. Li Fan was crying. Refueling your grandpa, I don't know how to play with a parachute. But there was no other way at the moment. Without authorization, the pilot would never land. Li Fan opened the cabin door and looked at the vast expanse of white clouds outside. Below the clouds was a city that could be faintly seen. Li Fan's heart was pounding. What the fuck? That's way too high. Before Li Fan could react, a gust of air blew over, causing the helicopter to shake. Li Fan didn't stand firm and fell from the top. At this altitude of a few thousand meters, if he directly chased down, even if Li Fan's qigong was extraordinary, he would probably fall into a small photo. Fortunately, he still had a parachute on his back. Li Fan's body fell rapidly to the ground, and he was really a little panicked. At such a high distance, no one had confidence. I hope the quality of this parachute is good, and there won't be any accidents. But in the process of falling, Li Fan slowly changed from fear to a feeling of drifting. He felt as if he had become one with the world, and the wind around him seemed to be his partner. He subconsciously mobilized the true qi around his body, forming it like a piece of clothing, and put it on his body. His body suddenly began to slow down, as if it had become a lot lighter. He felt like he was a feather, or maybe a little heavier than a feather. His body continued to fall to the ground, but at a much slower speed. Li Fan tried to change the shape of the true qi. Soon, the true qi slowly formed a triangular shape, like a glider, and drove Li Fan's body to glide forward. Damn, is this possible? Li Fan lost his fear. He looked at the ground below him, and let his true qi act as a glider. He passed through the clouds and began to glide quickly towards the ground. But this could only be used as entertainment. If he really relied on this method to land, he was afraid that he would directly fall into hell. When Li Fan approached the city below, he finally opened his parachute. Puff! An umbrella flower bloomed in the air. Li Fan felt a big hand pulling his body fiercely, slowing down his speed many times. Finally, he slowly fell to the ground at a safe speed. Against the moonlight, Li Fan landed on the roof of a building. He took off his parachute, walked down, and tidied up his windbreaker. When he jumped down, the wind was so strong that his clothes were blown into a mess. Li Fan stood on the top of this tall building, looking down at the bright city below, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. City A, I, Li Fan, am back again. Damn it, I won't go abroad casually in the future. What a trap, it's simply a deep trap. Li Fan looked at the building that was more than 10 stories high. Looking down, it was a distance that made people dizzy. However, in order to test his strength, Li Fan took a deep breath, then stepped on the edge of the building with both feet, opened his arms, and suddenly jumped down. The wind sounded in his ears. For a moment, Li Fan actually enjoyed this feeling. His xinqi naturally flowed out and enveloped his body. Li Fan suddenly opened his arms. The true qi was like a layer of membrane, connecting his arms and waist, letting the air support his body. Chapter 156. His falling speed suddenly slowed down, and he maintained a controllable speed. Li Fan's body flipped in the air, and then he landed steadily on the roof of a Cayenne. This Cayenne belonged to some rich young master, and it was instantly dented by his stomp, letting out an ear-piercing alarm. Fortunately, there was no one around. Li Fan gently stuck out his tongue, and then he disappeared into the night. At this moment, Yushi, an expert of the genie guard, who was sitting cross-legged in her room, suddenly opened her eyes. She was back, and Li Wenjua's aura had already disappeared. Yushi's remaining eye was still beautiful, and her eyes shone with a different kind of light. She then stretched out her hand, and pointed at the wall beside her. A wooden nameplate suddenly flew down, and fell into her palm. Yushi threw this nameplate on the ground, and a stooped figure immediately walked out from the corner, crouched on the ground, and picked up the nameplate on the ground. Yen Kai. Milord, are you really going to send him? This figure was Yushi's housekeeper. Yushi usually cherished her words like gold, and it was very difficult to hear her speak. This old housekeeper was called Uncle Zhong, and he was a cripple with one hand and one leg broken. However, he had always been by Yushi's side, and served her, so he could be said to understand her thoughts. Although this person's martial arts are not bad, his character is unstable, and difficult to grasp. Uncle Zhong said rather worriedly, "If we let him carry out the mission, this old servant is worried that he will be biased." Yushi waved her hand, and Uncle Zhong nodded. "This old servant understands, then this old servant will go and inform this person." He retreated and crawled out, and Yushi closed her eyes again. That time, she had been seriously injured, and she still needed to rest for a period of time. If she still couldn't get rid of Li Fan, she would consider doing it herself. The genie guard would definitely not let any target go. The next morning, Li Fan rode a bicycle to pick up Lin Yuhsin. Unexpectedly, when he arrived downstairs of Lin Yuhsin's house, he saw Lin Yuhsin standing at the door, waving at him. Her expression was somewhat nervous, as if she was afraid of something. Did someone bully Lin Yuhsin again? Li Fan's temper immediately flared up. No matter what, Lin Yuhsin was under his protection now, and someone actually dared to bully her. Wasn't this the same as provoking the Tai Sui? Li Fan rolled up his sleeves and was about to find out who bullied Lin Yuhsin when the door to Lin Yuhsin's house was pushed open. Her mother, Yuan Chunli, was not at work. When the middle-aged woman saw Li Fan, she went back to the house, picked up the mop, and rushed down. "Auntie, what are you doing?" When Li Fan saw this, he felt a little numb. "Little bastard, how dare you lie to me? You pretended to be a rich second generation and even drank my Mao Tai. I'll kill you." Yuan Chunli did not know how she saw through Li Fan's identity. She picked up the mop and was about to beat him up. Li Fan could not hit Lin Yuhsin's mother, so he could only dodge and panic. He said, "Auntie, you've misunderstood. Please listen to my explanation." "I'll listen to your shit. You're a sports brand, and you even sent me on a trip to Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. I even bought a swimsuit. Little bastard, if I don't kill you today, I'll change my surname to yours. Mom, don't hit me. You can't blame Li Fan for this. It's all my fault. I was the one who asked him to say that to you." Lin Yuhsin went forward to stop her, but Yuan Chunli pushed her away. "Little bastard, what kind of bewitching potion did you feed my daughter? I only have one daughter. If you dare to lay your hands on her, I'll die with you today." Li Fan cried and laughed. Who did he offend? Why did he get into such a mess right after returning to China? Many of the neighbors nearby were alarmed and came out to watch the show. "Little bastard, don't run. Stop right there." Yuan Chunli seemed to have gone crazy. She chased after Li Fan with a mop. Li Fan dodged as he thought of a countermeasure. What should I do? How should I deal with Yuan Chunli? Just as he was thinking, a black Bentley suddenly drove over, which surprised everyone. How could there be a Bentley parked in their small and run-down place? Could it be a developer? Impossible. Developers always let their subordinates come over. At most, they would drive an Audi. This was a Bentley with a black license plate. It was definitely not something an ordinary person could drive. The door of the Bentley opened. Yufeng walked out and bowed respectfully to Li Fan. "Young master, I'm sorry. I'm late." Li Fan frowned and looked at him. He thought to himself, why is this guy here? Yuan Chunli is also stunned. The driver in the Bentley calls Li Fan, this brat, young master. No, she suddenly remembered yesterday that she seemed to have seen Li Fan before, and he was wearing the school uniform of number 2 middle school. Therefore, she specially went to number 2 middle school to check the student list and found that Li Fan was indeed a student of the school. Moreover, he had heard from a few of his classmates that he was just a little tyrant in school, not some second-generation nouveau riche. This was the reason why Yuan Chunli was angry. She had lived for so many years, but she was actually cheated by a little bastard. But at this moment, this black Bentley seemed to subvert her worldview. "Young master, what's the matter?" Yu Feng asked. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Lu Xinan still owed him 60,000 yuan. He originally planned to send Yuan Chunli on a trip to Singapore, Malaysia and Thailand. Wasn't it just right now? This is my auntie, Yuan Chunli, Ms. Yuan. Li Fan immediately gave Yu Feng a look. Didn't I tell you to bring Ms. Yuan to Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand for a tour today? Why are you so late? I'm sorry, young master. I'll arrange it for you. Yu Feng went to make a phone call while Li Fan said to Yuan Chunli guiltily, "Auntie, I'm sorry. I did lie to you. Actually, I'm not a university student. I'm just a high school student. At that time, I was afraid that you would be worried, so I did this. I'm really sorry." "Ah, it's okay. Child, why didn't you say so earlier?" Yuan Chunli only felt that the world was changing too fast. Before she could react, another Mercedes slowly drove over. Yu Feng opened the door for Yuan Chunli. "Ms. Yuan, please get in the car. Leave the rest to us to arrange. I guarantee that you will have a wonderful trip to Singapore, Malaysia and Thailand. Then I'll bring 2 clothes. We've prepared all the necessary necessities for you. Just enjoy your trip. We'll head to the airport first. The special plane to Singapore, Malaysia and Thailand is already waiting for you." Yu Feng was indeed a professional bodyguard. His answers were so detailed that Yuan Chunli was a little confused. Lin Yuhsin was also a little shocked. Yuan Chunli had already been invited to the Mercedes. Chapter 157. After comforting Lin Yuhsin, Li Fan had no choice but to follow the black Bentley. Sure enough, after he got into the car, a beautiful woman was sitting across from him. This woman was none other than the one that he yearned for day and night, the one that he wished he could skin and pull out her bones, Lu Xinan. "I haven't seen you for a day, do you miss me?" Lu Xinan sat across from Li Fan. "Look at your eyes, it's as if you can't wait to eat me." "Of course, I miss you so much right now that I can't even fall asleep." When Li Fan spoke, he gritted his teeth. "Ayaya, I knew it. This lady's charm is really too big. Sometimes I'm very troubled, but who told this lady to be a natural beauty? I can only slowly get used to it." Li Fan almost vomited blood, thinking that this Lu Xinan was too narcissistic. "You're very beautiful. Sometimes when I see you, my heart feels warm." "Really?" Lu Xinan seemed to be somewhat happy, but Li Fan said, "I'm not lying to you, because when I was a child, I lived in the countryside, and my family raised a donkey, which had a very good relationship with me. Later it died, and when I saw you, I thought of it, and couldn't help but recall my warm childhood." Li Fan. "I'll go to hell with your uncle." Lu Xinan almost jumped out of the car. If not for the roof, she would have flown into the sky. "Your dog's mouth can't spit out ivory. Snake woman, you're too impatient, saying a few words and you want to fly." Li Fan sneered, "But haven't you thought about what would happen if you see me? We're all good friends, why should I be afraid to see you?" Lu Xinan seemed to think of something, smiled sweetly, and was no longer angry. Good friend. I'm just a little student, how could I become Big Mrs. Friend? I feel like I'm not a friend, but a creditor. That's not right. Lu Xinan raised her eyebrows. Isn't your 60,000 yuan to arrange a trip to Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand for that old woman? I've already arranged it for you. Your 60,000 yuan isn't even enough for a top-notch trip to Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. I'll help you pay for the rest. Who asked us to be friends? I'm just that kind. Lu Xinan, don't play tricks with me. Li Fan raised one of his hands. Seeing his hand, Lu Xinan seemed to subconsciously tremble. You know, if I want to kill you, all I have to do is move a finger. My patience has its limits. Woman, don't try to challenge me. Why are you so excited? You said that I'm impatient, but you're the one who's impatient now. After all, Lu Xinan was a person who had seen the world a few times. She calmed herself down and continued to say to Li Fan, have you forgotten what you said? Humph. Li Fan snorted coldly and put down his right hand. Lu Xinan was obviously relieved. You want to ask about the Imperial Jade Seal, don't you, Mr. Creditor? Lu Xinan said, you already want to ask me, right? You took my thing, but you won't let me ask. Li Fan said sarcastically, do you remember what you said? You said that the Imperial Jade Seal can be left with me. What beautiful words. I was moved at the time. Li Fan, I lied to you about this. Lu Xinan shrugged her shoulders. But if I didn't say that, you wouldn't have given me the Imperial Jade Seal. And if you believe me, I can tell you very bluntly. I myself am not interested in this Imperial Jade Seal. Oh. Guess, do I still believe you? I can't help it if you don't believe me, but this is the truth. Lu Xinan didn't seem to force Li Fan to believe her. But if I have a guilty conscience, I naturally dare not come to see you. Since I come to see you, I naturally have the confidence. Since you are not interested, why did you steal it from me? Li Fan asked. Li Fan, you may not know the meaning behind this Imperial Jade Seal. Lu Xinan lowered her voice and her expression became solemn. This heirloom Imperial Jade Seal is of great significance to both the martial arts world and our business and politics. It can be said that as long as it is a sane person, he will want to take it for himself. I understand what you mean. You mean you are not sane. Screw you, I can only be regarded as an exception. Lu Xinan rolled her eyes. This Imperial Jade Seal can only be a hot potato in my hands. If you think I want it, it will be too late for me to push it out. But this thing can't be put in your hands. You have too little experience in Jianghu. It will bring death to both of us. What do you mean? Speak clearly. Okay, then I'll be straightforward. Lu Xinan took out a photo and put it in front of Li Fan. It was the photo of the Imperial Jade Seal. This Imperial Jade Seal is said to hide the treasures of the Great Ming Dynasty. Before Emperor Chongzhen died, he hid all the treasures of the Great Ming Dynasty in it. What you saw in Yamada Kazuo's place is just a drop in the bucket compared to this treasure. What so exaggerated? Oh, he is just a small Japanese businessman. How can his collection be compared to a big empire? Lu Xinan curled her lips. In his treasure house, only this Imperial Jade Seal can be regarded as the real thing. Most of the other things are imitations and are not worth much. Damn, he was prepared to get it back later. Hearing Lu Xinan's words, Li Fan was somewhat discouraged. But he changed his mind. Could what Lu Xinan said be true? What if she wanted to monopolize the treasure house? No matter what, dealing with this woman was like making a deal with the devil. He needed to be very careful. It's fine if it's just the treasure house. It won't involve you people in Jianghu. Lu Xinan tapped on the photo. Most importantly, there's a book that's said to be the most valuable treasure of the martial arts world in this treasure trove. It's a unique skill called Vairocana Heart Sutra. Vairocana Heart Sutra. Li Fan hesitated. Should he go back and ask Muronging? Although I am not in Jianghu, I have heard some rumors. It is said that this secret skill was invented by a strange genius of Jianghu. He relied on this move to defeat the world's invincible people. Moreover, he also cultivated the art of longevity. It is said that the person who cultivates this secret skill can use the true qi to continuously cleanse their bones and marrow. They can maintain their youth and live forever. Nonsense. If it was really so powerful, wouldn't that person still be alive now? How can you believe this kind of Jianghu rumor? The latter part may be a rumor. But it is true that one can be invincible after cultivating this skill. Lu Xinan looked at Li Fan. A martial art that makes people invincible. Li Fan, aren't you interested?
Chapter 158. Li Fan was indeed tempted. As a martial artist, how could he not want to be invincible in the world? He wanted to use his martial arts to defeat Muronging, Jiang Feng, and that annoying Murong Bo. He wanted to be the strongest martial artist in the world, unparalleled, and dominate the martial arts world. Which man did not have ambition? And Li Fan's ambition had never been small. There was a saying that went, fight the most powerful boss and chase the prettiest girl. This was what it meant to be a winner in life. If not for this, he would not have dragged Huang Lei, Bai Lin Luo, and Guan Wen Bao to do something big together. Not to mention you, even I would be very interested if I heard that I could cultivate an invincible divine art. However, this lady knows that once this thing is revealed, it will definitely cause a bloodbath. If we want to obtain this treasure, we need to keep it a secret and cooperate. You mean, you want to cooperate with me to find this treasure and then split it evenly? Li Fan already knew what Lu Xinan meant. Yes. Lu Xinan nodded. I have already found a few trustworthy experts to help me analyze this imperial jade seal and decipher the secret of the treasure map. But with just me or my team, I have no way of opening this legendary treasure trove of a dragon's lair. She was very frank. I'm afraid there will be many experts blocking the way. I need you and Guan Wen Bao to help me. You mean the Guan family's escort agency? Yes, this can be your first job. Escort a person, that's me. Bring me to the dragon's lair. Then, in addition to a considerable fee, you will also receive the Vairocana Heart Sutra. It sounded like a win-win situation. But when discussing business with Lu Xinan, he would unknowingly suffer losses. I'll be frank, I don't trust you. Li Fan was frank. I understand, but the two of us are in the same boat. Lu Xinan also seemed to be very sincere as she said, and I don't have any foundation in martial arts. Even if you gave me a divine technique, I wouldn't be able to practice it. Therefore, although I am envious of the divine technique, I do not covet it. Li Fan, this lady has seen many people and seen many things. I dare say that you are an ambitious man, and a very, very ambitious one. This opportunity is right in front of you. We worked together to steal the Imperial Jade Seal, and now we're working together to take the treasures inside. Is there anything unfair about this? Although Li Fan was 100% confident in his 7 heroes force, he was still very interested in this so-called invincible divine technique. Maybe there was something in this divine skill that could help his 7 gallant force? Just like the minor phaseless art and the Vajra demon vanquishing art. His 7 heroes force had unlimited possibilities. Snake Scorpion Woman, you've cheated me too many times. Li Fan really found it hard to believe Lu Xinan.
It was not an exaggeration to say that she was a poisonous snake. Like I said, we're all in the same boat. This is our only chance. Lu Xinan's eyes flashed, I need to use this opportunity to prove that even if I don't marry that guy, I can still make my family develop better. From Lu Xinan's gaze, Li Fan felt a familiar feeling. At that moment, he seemed to have seen Murong Ying's gaze. Although Lu Xinan had a venomous heart, her personality was similar to Murong Ying's. Both of them wished to be a strong woman. It's just that Murong Ying was a genius and was more domineering. But Lu Xinan was just an ordinary woman. In order to gain the recognition of more people, she needed to pay more. Two women with the same background, in order to prove themselves, they took two completely different paths. Alright, then I'll promise you. Li Fan decided to take a gamble. This matter was too attractive to him. It's a pleasure working with you. Lu Xinan's mouth finally revealed a smile. Let's consider this matter finished. Before I leave, I'll come and inform you. After that, you have to fulfill another promise. What promise? Promise. What promise? Li Fan seemed to be forgetful. Lu Xinan curled her lips. You must be doing it on purpose. Humph. Don't forget, you still owe me 500,000. You have to help me teach someone a lesson. Alright, I've taken someone's money to help them get rid of a calamity. This matter was already promised to Lu Xinan. In order to not owe her anything, Li Fan must do it. Alright, your task today is to pretend to be my boyfriend and attend a high-class gathering with me. At the gathering, beat up whoever I tell you to. Oh. Then do I have to dress appropriately? Li Fan asked. No need. The more tattered you wear, the better. The smile on Lu Xinan's mouth looked so evil. Then I understand. To what extent should I beat him? Will he be paralyzed or paralyzed? You'll be responsible for the medical expenses, right? Just beat him until he cries for his mom and dad. Lu Xinan's requirement was not high, however, this miss won't cheat you this time. Let me make it clear to you first. He has an expert by his side. You have to be more careful. Expert? To what extent? Well, just a little more powerful than the average person. Lu Xinan pinched two fingers and made a small gesture. That's no problem. Leave it to me. Li Fan laughed. Snake woman, don't worry. I don't dare to say anything else, but I'm very good at living. Screw you. This miss will pick you up at night. Yu Feng, pull over and let him get out. Aren't you going to send me to school? Don't joke. This isn't a taxi. Fuck. Sending Buddha to the west. You're not Buddha. Goodbye. Lu Xinan really asked Li Fan to get out of the car and drove away in the Bentley. This damned woman. She didn't let him have a good time. The two of them were really enemies in their previous lives. What kind of hatred did they have in their previous lives? Murong Ying was still the best. Although she was a bit overbearing, she still cared about him sometimes. However, the school was not far from here. Li Fan jogged all the way to not be late. As for the heirloom Imperial Jade Seal, he still had to discuss it with Little Four Eyes and the others. Otherwise, he would suffer a loss from this snake woman, Lu Xinan. Just as he ran to the front of the school gate, a black Toyota Prado suddenly rushed out from the alley next to him. Like a beast released from its cage, it rushed towards Li Fan. Although it was daytime, the headlights were terrifyingly bright. It flashed in Li Fan's eyes, causing Li Fan to subconsciously close his eyes. Everything happened in a flash. When Li Fan came to his senses, the black Toyota Prado had already rushed in front of him. The next second, there would be a terrifying intimate contact. Chapter 159. The displacement and horsepower of this Toyota Prado were not low. The instantaneous acceleration was amazing. If it hit Li Fan's body, Li Fan would be crippled even if he didn't die. But the good thing was that Li Fan was a martial artist. Moreover, he was a martial artist who had reached the next level. At the moment when the Toyota Prado kissed Li Fan, the flow of the whole world seemed to slow down. Li Fan instantly entered the state of bear strike and slapped the front of the off-road vehicle. Bang! Li Fan felt a huge force hitting his arm, but his true chi was not to be trifled with. It crazily poured into his palm. Li Fan was like a cannonball. The Vajra subduing magic integrated with the bear strike technique was full of destruction and explosive power. His slap carried a huge amount of true chi and was imprinted on the front of the car. Bear strike Ursa Major Seal. Boom! The black off-road vehicle was stunned and abruptly stopped there. It couldn't move forward even a millimeter. Then, the body of the off-road vehicle began to fall apart. The wheels flew out. The front of the car was slapped by Li Fan, and then the bumper flew out with a clang. The glass of the car exploded, and the glass fragments flew everywhere. A good off-road vehicle was turned into scrap metal by Li Fan's slap. The engine also began to emit black smoke. The driver inside was a young man in his early 20s. His hair was dyed in a colorful color. He was tightly blocked by the airbag and wrapped in the seat. "Are you driving or killing people?" Li Fan put down his palm. The web between his thumb and forefinger was slightly trembling, but fortunately, it didn't cause too deep an effect on him. "Be careful when driving in the future, idiot." The driver didn't know if he had fainted from the shock. Li Fan was too lazy to care about him. If he dawdled a little more, he would be late. Chang Chuanxi wouldn't believe that he crashed the car. He ran back to the classroom and threw the scrapped off-road vehicle there. After winning the last exam, the school didn't target Li Fan again. The principal was probably brewing some big move. Chang Chuanxi was still critical of Li Fan. As soon as Li Fan entered the door, he scolded Li Fan's hair was too long and didn't look like a student. "I have a fast cut now. If I shave it again, I will become bald." Li Fan was the only one who dared to talk back to Chang Chuanxi. "Teacher Chang, this is a school, not a prison. Do I have to shave my head to come?" "Li Fan, don't be stubborn with me. You will regret one day." Chang Chuanxi was also very unhappy in his heart. No matter how he looked at Li Fan, he was unhappy. He was like a needle, piercing his eyes. If he didn't kick him out of the school, the principal would lose confidence in him sooner or later. "I must find a way to get rid of this kid. In this school, if there's him, then there's me, then there's him. That. Teacher Chang, can I go to class now?"
The new beautiful teacher, Liao Wushuang, was still standing at the classroom door. She timidly looked at the dark-faced Chang Chuanxi. "Ah, Teacher Liao, you came. Please come in. Who is the student on duty today? Why is the podium so dirty? Quickly wipe it for Teacher Liao. And you, go and pour some water for Teacher Liao. What if Teacher Liao is thirsty?" Several students were being tossed around by Chang Chuanxi. Liao Wushuang quickly said, "No need, no need. This is good. Aya, Teacher Liao, don't be so polite. These students need to be tempered. You're working so hard to teach them. It's only right for them to do something." Li Fan rolled his eyes. This stinky idiot. Tormenting students to please a girl is the first in history. Everyone, don't be busy. Go back. Let's hurry up and go to class. Seeing several students busily cleaning the classroom, Liao Wushuang couldn't bear it and said, "You guys hurry up. Can't you see Teacher Liao is waiting anxiously?" Really stupid. You can't even do such a simple job. Do you also do this at home? The students swallowed their anger. Liao Wuxuang couldn't persuade them anymore. She could only wait for them to clean the blackboard and the podium until it was spotless. After that, she brought hot tea. Only then did Chang Chuanxi reluctantly leave the classroom. Okay, let's go to class. Liao Wuxuang's lecture was very serious. Even Li Fan had to admit that she did have a good way of speaking English. She made a boring language class very lively. This Liao Wuxuang seemed to have lived abroad before. She would always take out some foreign scenes and imitate them. Teacher Liao, can I ask you a question? Bai Lin Luo's favorite language is English. He couldn't help but raise his hand and ask. Classmate Bai Lin Luo, ask away. Teacher Liao, have you studied abroad before? Little Four pushed his glasses and asked the question in his heart. Your spoken English is very authentic. You speak standard American English. If I didn't know better, I would think you are an American Chinese American. I used to study at Columbia University in the United States. Liao Wuxuang somewhat shyly smiled. Really? Teacher, is the life abroad particularly good? Was there a gunfight or something? The students immediately became curious. None of them raised their hands. Instead, they asked one after another. Liao Wuxuang somewhat blushed. She said a few words, but it was drowned out by the noise. Shut up. Li Fan suddenly shouted, are you all crazy? Li Fan's deterrence was 100 times stronger than the class leader. With his voice, no one dared to make a sound. The class immediately quieted down. Liao Wuxuang somewhat gratefully looked at Li Fan and then said, students, I know you are very curious, but you have to answer the questions one by one. Teacher will slowly tell you. She adjusted the frame of her glasses. This action made Little Four very excited.
First of all, the United States is not as good as everyone thinks. In contrast, our lunchbox may not be worse than a middle-class family's meal. And speaking of the gunfight problem, this has always been a difficult problem in the United States. In the United States, the best department in the hospital is the gunshot department. Wow! The students exclaimed. Li Fan also couldn't help but ask a question. Teacher Liao, it is said that the United States housing is cheap, much cheaper than China. Is this true? This is true. Liao Wuxuang nodded, but when you buy a house, you have to pay the relevant management fees and taxes every month. The better the house, the more expensive these fees. If you lose your job or go bankrupt, the first thing you have to do is move out of the house. This made Li Fan feel enlightened. So, China is already very happy. The most important point, I hope everyone can remember. Liao Wuxuang seemed to be serious. Her voice was full of strength. It doesn't mean that you can become happy in any country you emigrate to. A person who doesn't work hard, no matter where he goes, will always be a loser. But if you work hard, no matter where you go, you will shine. Remember, gold will always shine. Chapter 160. Little Four Eyes, class is over. What are you doing? Li Fan nudged Bai Lin Luo to wake him up. Bai Lin Luo was still in a daze. No one knew what was going on in his head. Li Fan. I think I might be in love. Little Four Eyes blushed as he lowered his head and muttered. What? Li Fan was stunned. He looked at Bai Lin Luo fearfully. Little Four Eyes, marrying your left hand is against the law, go to hell. You're the one marrying your left hand. I really fell in love with someone. Don't tell me you want to like a beast. Can you be more serious? If you continue like this, I won't talk to you anymore. Bai Lin Luo became arrogant. Li Fan hurriedly pulled him back. Fine, fine, fine. I admit my mistake. Who do you like? I'll help you check that. I like our teacher, fuck. Li Fan was shocked. Your taste is too fucking heavy. You won't even let someone like Chang Chuanxi off. That black fatty of his can crush you to death, big brother. Get lost. Bai Lin Luo didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Who would like that ghost? I like our teacher Liao. Oh. That's more like it. Li Fan nodded. Teacher Liao's chest is quite big. I estimated it to be at least 36D. It's quite attractive. You're too dirty. Bai Lin Luo looked at Li Fan with disdain. I admire teacher Liao's standard of English, her pure accent, and her thoughts and awareness. Ah, I understand. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Li Fan chuckled. Even if teacher Liao farted, it would smell good, right? I can't communicate with you anymore. Alright. Since you like it, then boldly pursue it. Li Fan patted Bai Lin Luo's shoulder, but Bai Lin Luo was a little shy. I'm a little embarrassed. After all, he's our teacher, she's only a few years older. Isn't she fine? Li Fan said indifferently, you have to hurry up, little four eyes. It's not easy to find a girl with a childish face and big breasts like her. 2 days ago, Wang Chang was still pestering our teacher Liao, but I scared him away. I wrote a love letter. Bai Lin Luo awkwardly took out a fragrant letter from his desk. Shit, you sissy. You've already prepared it, yet you're still pretending to be pure. Li Fan snatched the letter and said, let young master see what you can write. Bai Lin Luo was not angry and let Li Fan snatch it. But when Li Fan took a look, he was dumbfounded. It was all in English, and he could only recognize 1 or 2 words. The amount of knowledge was completely beyond his current level. Not bad, little four eyes. You're suitable for intelligence work. Li Fan looked at the letter under the light. Who can understand this thing on it? As long as teacher Liao can understand it, it's fine, Bai Lin Luo muttered, as long as she can understand it, she can understand my feelings, then you send it to her. Li Fan urged, what are you waiting for? You're a man, go on. I'm sorry. Forget it. Bai Lin Luo hurriedly put the love letter back into the desk and ran to the toilet. Li Fan couldn't stop him. This guy, why does he like to go to the toilet when he's nervous? Li Fan said that he would be a matchmaker today. He secretly took out the love letter and stuffed it into Bai Lin Luo's English exercise book. After school, the exercise book would be collected and Liao Wushuang would naturally see little Four Eyes' feelings. I'm really too kind. When Bai Lin Luo came back, Li Fan didn't mention this matter until school was over. All the students put their exercise books and homework on the desk and then packed up and left. The English class representative collected the exercise books one by one. After receiving Bai Lin Luo and Li Fan's exercise books, because there were too many exercise books, both of their exercise books slid down and fell to the ground. A page of letter fell out. The class representative looked at it twice but didn't understand it. He stuffed it back into the exercise book and then took a big stack of exercise books to the office. After school, according to the agreement, Li Fan went to a black Bentley parked not far from the school gate. He specially went to the billiard hall and asked Huang Lei to help him dress up. When Li Fan got in the car, Lu Xinan almost jumped out of the car. Damn! Who are you? It's me, Li Fan. Li Fan rolled his eyes. I haven't seen you for a day and you don't recognize me. It's me who doesn't dare to recognize you, okay? Look at what you've become now. Li Fan changed into a camouflage uniform. It wasn't the military uniform but a construction worker's uniform. He wore a camouflage pants and a pair of liberation boots. His upper body was covered in a white singlet, and his hair was messy. Lu Xinan never knew that a person with such short hair could be so messy. The most interesting thing was that there was something drawn on Li Fan's shoulder. Lu Xinan couldn't help but ask, "Is this Mickey Mouse? What kind of look is that? This is an authentic Timberwolf." Li Fan rolled his eyes again. At first, Huang Lei drew it like a husky. At my request, he changed it to this ferocious look. Isn't it scary? It's hilarious. Lu Xinan covered her mouth. You look like this, it's... Didn't you ask me to do this? Alright, it's pretty good. Lu Xinan nodded. Then let's do this. It's not bad to make it look like a gangster. Alright then. Snake Woman, let's go. Li Fan waved his hand. I'm someone who wants to do big things. I can't accompany you to travel all over the country. It's too much of a waste of time. Go to hell. I just said a few words and you're still breathing. This time, it was Lu Xinan's turn to roll her eyes. Perform well today. If you perform well, I'll reward you with candies. You're at it again. How many times have I told you that I'm not a dog? Li Fan was a little unhappy in his heart. Whoever wants to be your boyfriend in the future is really unlucky. Hee, it's not up to you to worry about it. Lu Xinan giggled and said, don't try to act innocent after getting what you want. Fuck. What did I take advantage of? Last time, I was. First. Kiss. Oh. When Lu Xinan said these 3 words, Li Fan was shocked. Fuck, I don't believe it. What's there to not believe? In this a city, who dares to kiss me? Only you have the guts to do so. If my dad finds out, he'll chop you up. You might as well chop me up. Go to hell. I can't be bothered with you. Yu Feng, drive. Chapter 161. Since he was already here, Li Fan didn't care where she went. He directly closed his eyes and rested on the back of the chair that was more comfortable than the sofa. This small car was really good. It was more comfortable than the bed at home. Hey, how could there be a bed at home? There was only a rope left. If only he could sleep in such a comfortable place every day. Li Fan, you still have a long way to go. If you don't work hard, how can you have such a comfortable life? Li Fan was dizzy the whole way. He didn't know what he was dreaming about. When he was pushed awake, he found that he had already arrived at a familiar place. In front of him was a luxurious hotel, the Grand Palace Hotel. This was a place that Li Fan had only heard of but had never been to. It was said that the Grand Palace was a gathering place for the rich. Li Fan was a little curious. Was there really an emperor living here? He followed behind Lu Xinan and walked in. This Lu Xinan was also wearing an evening gown today. It was the same color as violet and looked like a fairy. Only Li Fan knew that this woman was actually a devil. Inside, there were beautiful women wearing ancient cheongsams, just like the Gonga in the palace. They bowed to the 2 of them as if they were relatives of the emperor. Here, as long as you had money, you were the emperor. However, as soon as Li Fan came in, he attracted a lot of attention. After all, Li Fan didn't look like he was attending a party. Instead, he looked like a brick worker, which was out of place here. At first glance, he was dazzling. Lu Xinan didn't care about the surrounding people's gazes. She just led Li Fan in. They went all the way to the banquet hall on the 2nd floor. The decorations inside were magnificent. Those who didn't know would really think that they had come to the ancient emperor's house. Here, which one of them wasn't a member of the upper class of society? Each of them dressed like a dog and communicated with each other with insincere sincerity. There was no real feeling at all. After Lu Xinan entered, naturally, there was no end to the small talk. Although Lu Xinan had a bad heart, her social skills were indeed strong. She could strike up a conversation with a few people with just a few words, and these people also looked at her with awe. Li Fan muttered in his heart, not knowing if it was her or her background that they were in awe of. Nan Nan, you're here. Just as Li Fan was enjoying the gazes of the people around him, a handsome young man in a suit strode towards Lu Xinan. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Sorry, I was making out with my boyfriend just now, so I was a bit late. Lu Xinan said as she held Li Fan's arm. My boyfriend is quite strong. It's been a little long. I'm really sorry. What the fuck, wasn't this a little too direct? Lu Xinan's battle prowess was simply too strong. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to withstand it. Nan Nan, isn't your eyesight a bit too bad? The handsome young man's gaze fell on Li Fan with a hint of disgust. Even if you like to play, you should have picked someone who's not too bad. This guy, ha. Only I know how good he is. Lu Xinan said sweetly. Anyway, I didn't violate the rules of our two families. Before the age of 22, you don't have the right to stop me from doing whatever I like. But you're still my fiancé. After the age of 22, you'll be my woman. The handsome young man was slightly unkind. You finding such a guy now is really making me lose face. Your face is something that you fought for yourself. What does it have to do with me? Young ruining, I'm not your private property. Don't get it wrong. Nan Nan, you really need to change this temper of yours. Young ruining frowned slightly. Randomly finding someone to pretend to be your boyfriend to deceive me. This is not fun. Pretend to deceive you. You're too self-righteous. Lu Xinan said. She hugged Li Fan's neck and directly kissed his lips. This kiss lasted for a long time. When they separated, she even gently bit the corner of Li Fan's mouth. Li Fan cursed, damn it, I've been taken advantage of again. But seeing that she didn't apply any knockout powder this time, he didn't care about it anymore. Young Ruining's frown deepened. As one of the top princes in a city, the woman he fancied, who would dare to act like this in front of him. Speaking of which, he was also a bit unlucky recently. He didn't know why, but his Cayenne was inexplicably trampled by someone. The guy who was sent to help Wang Chang also crashed his Toyota Prado, and the matter was not settled yet. Perhaps he was out of luck recently. He had to go to the temple to burn incense. However, this kind of man could become his rival in love and pollute his woman. This really made Yang Ruining unhappy. Sir, high position. Yang Ruining looked at Li Fan and coldly asked. What uncle? I don't have an uncle. Li Fan began to pretend to be stupid. It's my fault for talking to someone like you. Yang Ruining looked at Li Fan with even more contempt. With his identity, talking to such a person was really lowering his own status. Dear, don't talk to him. There's something wrong with his heart. Lu Xinan held Li Fan's arm and whispered in his ear, you just need to follow me. Nan Nan, don't go too far. Yang Ruining frowned even deeper. Today is a high-class party. This kind of person is not qualified to enter. The air is a bit smelly. Tell him to leave quickly. Yang Ruining, he's my friend. Be polite with your words. Lu Xinan went tit for tat. In this world, you're not the only one who smells good. What's more, you don't smell good, you're just a stinky man. Nan Nan, I'm your fiancé. Be careful when you speak to me. At this moment, Li Fan felt Lu Xinnan's hand secretly pinch him. The time had come. This was the signal to beat someone up. Li Fan was a professional person who took people's money to eliminate disasters for them. He immediately shouted, "You big idiot, how can you talk to my wife like that? Are you asking for a beating?" Li Fan played the role of a hooligan to the fullest. Even Lu Xinnan secretly gave Li Fan a thumbs up. "Do you know who you're talking to?" Yang Ruining looked at Li Fan arrogantly. Li Fan curled his lips. "What? Can't I talk to you? You're the president of the country. What an idiot. Standing with you is an insult to my identity." Yang Ruining immediately took a step back, while Li Fan chuckled and took a step forward, sticking to him like a plaster. "What? I'm right in front of you. Will you die?" Yang Ruining took a step back, and Li Fan took a step forward. Those who didn't know would think that the two of them were doing a cha-cha dance. Lu Xinnan held back her laughter. She just wanted to see Yang Ruining make a fool of himself. At this moment, an arm suddenly stretched out from the side and blocked Li Fan's path. Chapter 162. The person who stopped Li Fan was a middle-aged man with slightly white hair. He looked to be in his 50s. Although he had some white hair, his eyes were full of spirit. His temples were bulging. One look and anyone could tell that his inner force was extraordinary. Li Fan muttered in his heart. Didn't they say that he was an expert who was a little stronger than an ordinary person? Did he really look like a little stronger? Was Lu Xinnan trying to trick him again? There were too many people who had been tricked by her, too many to count. His heart was beating fast, but Yang Ruining sneered. "Uncle Huangfu, I'll leave this idiot to you. Throw him out so that he doesn't dirty this place." "Yes, young master." The old man with the surname Huangfu looked like an immortal, but there was a hint of hostility in his eyes. He grabbed Li Fan's shoulder with one hand. He clasped his fingers together and furrowed his brows. This old man was called Huangfu Feng, and he practiced the evil martial art passed down in his family, soul-breaking palm. This soul-breaking palm was extremely sinister, and when complemented with the Ice Heart Sutra, it was even more evil. Therefore, Huangfu Feng was hated in Jianghu and could only come out to be a bodyguard. Yang Ruining was known as the prince of a city. He had a big family and business, so it was not a loss for him to be a bodyguard even if he was called a lackey. Since young Master Yang wanted to throw this young man out, he would naturally do as he was told. In a city, Yang Ruining could kill anyone he wanted in a matter of minutes. His power was only so great. But when his hand grabbed Li Fan's shoulder, he was stunned. This was not the shoulder of an ordinary person. His muscles and bones were pure, and he was protected by earth energy. He was clearly a martial artist. But Li Fan laughed, then suddenly turned around, grabbed Huangfu Feng's arm, threw him over his shoulder, and ruthlessly smashed him to the ground. Huangfu Feng didn't even have time to react and was knocked down. When he turned over and jumped up, Yang Ruining's face had already darkened. He wanted to teach someone a lesson, but he was the one being taught a lesson. He looked at Huangfu Feng coldly. His meaning was clear. "I asked you to make a move, but you embarrassed me." Huangfu Feng couldn't hold his face any longer. Everyone was watching. As young Master Yang's bodyguard, he was thrown to the ground like a dog eating shit. This was really shameful. "Young Master Yang, he is a martial artist," Huangfu Feng tried to explain, but Yang Ruining didn't care. "Aren't you the expert I invited? This is your so-called expert? Don't worry, young master. I'm stronger than him. He just caught me off guard." Before Huangfu Feng could finish his explanation, Li Fan suddenly attacked again. This old man's realm was definitely at a higher level, but his inner force strength was at least 7 to 8 tigers. Right now, when he entered the bear cavalry, he only had the strength of 6 tigers. Normally, he only had a little more than 5 tigers. If he wanted to defeat this old man, he had to catch him off guard. While Huang Fufeng was talking to Yang Ruining, Li Fan's hands were already grabbing his waist from behind. Lazy bear roll. Huang Fufeng felt as if his body was riding on the clouds again. He was thrown backward by Li Fan and fell flat on his face again. Huang Fufeng was furious. As a famous martial artist in Jianghu, he had actually been fooled by a local rascal twice today. Blocking the eyes of so many guests, how could he and Yang Ruining put their faces? Brat! You are forcing me. Today, I am going to start a massacre. Huang Fufeng was still an expert. Although he was thrown to the ground by Li Fan twice, he only suffered some flesh wounds. He quickly climbed up with a sinister expression. He sent a soul-severing palm towards Li Fan. This absolute soul palm was an insidious technique that was used to help him cultivate the Ice Heart Sutra. If it landed on a person's body, not only would it cause serious internal injuries, it would also slowly freeze the person's meridians, causing irreversible damage. Ice Heart Sutra. When Li Fan saw Huang Fufeng's palm emitting a bone-chilling aura, he subconsciously thought of Murong's favorite ice palm. Muronging was not willing to mention this ice palm because it was an evil technique. She would not believe that her own sister would practice this evil technique. Looking at Huang Fufeng's palm, Li Fan knew that he could not face it head-on. He immediately entered the state of snake strike and used his arm to lock Huang Fufeng's arm. Then, he used his 5 fingers to attack Huang Fufeng's throat. However, Huang Fufeng's title as an expert was not for nothing. He immediately stretched out his right hand to protect his throat. Puff! Li Fan's fingers hit Huang Fufeng's palm, but it did not cause any fatal damage. Even so, Huang Fufeng still took 3 steps back. His eyes were filled with shock. What kind of technique is this? Who are you? Me. I am her boyfriend. Li Fan chuckled and then turned around to kick Huang Fufeng's face. Li Fan's attack was fast and fierce, but it was just a test. Huang Fufeng took a step back and dodged Li Fan's kick. At the same time, he used his palm to hit Li Fan's calf. Sure enough, this man was an expert in hand techniques. Li Fan retracted his calf at lightning speed, dodging Huang Fufeng's big palm print. At the same time, he lowered his body and kicked Huang Fufeng's calf. Sweeping kick was the most effective way to deal with people with unstable lower body. Sure enough, Li Fan's kick caused Huang Fufeng to stagger. At the same time, Li Fan's palm fiercely hit Huang Fufeng's chest with his elbow and then his palm hit Huang Fufeng's chin. Tiger Strike. Black Tiger Fierce Mountain Climb. This was the unique technique of Tiger Strike. Huang Fufeng spat out a mouthful of blood and suffered some internal injuries. Brat! I'm going to kill you. Huang Fufeng's eyes were red. He stabilized his body and forcibly suppressed his internal injuries. Then, he used his hands to repeatedly hit Li Fan and attack Li Fan like a mad dog. If Li Fan hadn't made this old man anxious from the beginning, it would have been difficult for him to deal with him. But since he had turned into a mad dog, Li Fan wasn't afraid of him. When a martial artist fought, even if his body was in a crazy state, his mind must remain calm. Every movement was the body's most instinctive reaction, but every move was analyzed by the brain. Huang Fufeng's attacks were like a storm, but none of them were able to hurt Li Fan. Li Fan suddenly began to counterattack. Every time Huang Fufeng attacked, he would use Spirit Snake to lock his opponent's attack and then hit Huang Fufeng's vital points with his palm. The throat was too easy to defend. This time, Li Fan chose to attack other places, but every time he attacked, he would hit Huang Fufeng's vital points with more and more force. Huang Fufeng's attacks not only failed to hurt Li Fan, but also brought fatal blows to himself. After 3 moves, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 163. After all, Li Fan has the strength of 5 tigers. Even if Huang Fufeng has a few more tigers, his body is not made of iron. Moreover, he does not have the small phaseless magic art's super strong defense. These few attacks finally made him vomit blood. Huang Fufeng has been suppressing his internal injuries, but these few moves have caused him a lot of injuries. Huang Fufeng probably did not expect that he would be in such a passive situation in the blink of an eye, even though he is obviously stronger. Yang Ruining is looking at him from behind. He must be very disappointed with his current performance. If he does not make a comeback, he is afraid that he will be kicked out of Yang Ruining's side. If he leaves a rich man like Yang Ruining, it will be difficult for him to find such a good job. Huang Fufeng is used to being a tyrant. He is also a spendthrift. He must keep this job. Brat, you forced me to do this, Huang Fufeng said. He suddenly opened his arms and took a deep breath. His stomach suddenly swelled up. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a round fat man. However, Li Fan did not dare to be negligent. He knew that Huang Fufeng took a deep breath of Dantian Qi. He must know some method to make the Dantian Qi flow more fiercely. Huang Fufeng's stomach suddenly became so big that the surrounding guests were all surprised. This is the first time they have seen a fight between experts. However, they know that this is a matter between Yang Ruining and Lu Xinan. Both of them are the tyrants of a city. No one wants to offend them. Therefore, they just stood at the side and watched the show. Secret Manual, Kunlun Grand Palm Print. Huang Fufeng stood there. Both of his hands suddenly shot out a grand palm print towards Li Fan. He was like a machine gun on a fortress, and the wind from his palm slapped toward Li Fan's head and face. Li Fan did not dare to be negligent. He took a few steps to the side. This grand palm print flew in all directions and hit the table beside Li Fan. The plates and food on the table exploded. This Mahamudra Kung Fu was quite powerful. It could use palm winds to injure people from a distance. However, Huang Fufeng had already lost his composure. Li Fan suddenly stopped and placed his left hand behind his back while his right hand was in front of him. Using the red-crowned crane wings, his right hand continuously slapped away the incoming palm imprints. Bang, bang, bang. None of the giant handprints were able to hit Li Fan. They were all sent flying by him with a single hand. Weak, too weak. Li Fan laughed as he defended, "What kind of expert are you? You can't even beat a little rascal like me. You'd better go home and farm." Anger attacked his heart again. Huang Fufeng's anger had reached its peak. This small flame was like adding oil to the fire, burning more and more fiercely. It was simply impossible to stop. Huang Fufeng suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. It was obvious that the qi had invaded his heart and lungs. His eyes turned red, and he clasped his hands together. A powerful Mahamudra slapped toward Li Fan through the air. Destroy heaven and earth. The powerful palm wind rushed towards him. This time, he would not be able to block it with one hand. However, Li Fan was not afraid. Although this was Huang Fufeng's ultimate move, he had lost his composure, causing the move to be full of loopholes. Inhale, Li Fan also took a deep breath. His eyes suddenly became spirited and his temples suddenly bulged. Swallow. Heavens. Toad. This was the only special stance that Li Fan had. At this time, he had mobilized 200% of his true chi for his own use. Under the heaven-swallowing toad stance, Li Fan could freely use the other moves of the 7 hero fists. Moreover, it was the strengthened version. True white crane nod. Li Fan's right hand trembled as he clasped his 5 fingers together and fiercely struck out. The true chi followed his movements and unexpectedly condensed into a hazy crane head. The sharp crane beak instantly hit the opponent's palm wind. Using a point to hit the face, Li Fan won. The huge palm wind directly collapsed and Li Fan chased after it again. True black tiger steel's heart. His left hand clawed out and condensed true chi into a tiger claw. In a flash, it hit Huang Fu Feng's chest and pierced 5 deep bloody holes. Paw! 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 Huang Fu Feng quickly used both of his hands to seal several acupuncture points on his body to stop the bleeding. Li Fan's series of attacks only took 2 or 3 moves to once again flatten him. Right now, he did not dare to forcefully circulate his true chi. Once he circulates his true chi, he will not be able to stop the bleeding in his chest and can only die. Although money is good, life is more important. Trash! Yang Ruining angrily flung his sleeves. His expression was cold as he turned around to leave. Brother, we still haven't settled the debt between us. Li Fan said as he pulled Yang Ruining over and directly used a cannon fist on his eyes. This Li Fan can be considered as being lenient. Against ordinary people, he will not kill them. But Yang Ruining still got a panda eye and screamed miserably. You dare to hit me. You actually dare to hit me. So what if I hit you? Are you going to bite me? Li Fan gave Yang Ruining a middle finger. This kind of person, he does not know why, but he hates this kind of person from the bottom of his heart. In the past, he always thought that rich people like Muronging are especially evil. But since he met Lu Xinan, he felt that Muronging is as good as a fairy. But after meeting Yang Ruining, he felt that Lu Xinan is especially obedient. Young Master! Young Master Yang! A group of bodyguards rushed over. One of them even took out a gun and pointed it at Li Fan. Yang Ruining is also not stupid. He pressed that person's wrist and made him put away the gun. Nan, this time I will not take this beating for nothing. Young Master Yang, isn't it just being hit by someone? Is there a need to have such a big reaction? Lu Xinan laughed, you really don't have any manliness. How are you going to be someone else's husband in the future? In a city, no one dares to hit me. Yang Ruining's voice was filled with killing intent. Then, his gaze landed on Li Fan. Remember, you have provoked someone you shouldn't have. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Does this brother think that he is Yi Liangqin? Yang Ruining covered his eyes and walked away. While Lu Xinan said in Li Fan's ear, don't worry, it's fine. He doesn't know you, and he can't find out your identity. My mission is completed. We don't owe each other anything now. Li Fan asked. Yes, we don't owe each other anything. But don't forget that we still have a cooperation. I won't forget. A man's words cannot be taken back. Li Fan nodded. This banquet was no longer interesting, so he left with Lu Xinan. However, Yang Ruining did not forget about this matter. At this moment, he was sitting in a private room, losing his temper. As a great expert, Huang Fu Feng could only stand to the side while trembling, not daring to even breathe loudly. Expert, you're cursing next door. The self-proclaimed elegant Yang Ruining also started to curse, Huang Fu Feng, you're a dog shit expert. Chapter 164. Young master, my skill is not as good as others. Huang Fufeng lowered his head with a pale complexion. With his body full of injuries, he was not in a good condition. However, I have a martial sister, her skill is better than mine. Your martial sister? How good can she be? Yang Ruining could not trust this Huang Fufeng at all. Young master, my martial sister is different from me. She is a direct disciple of the Ice sect. Her Ice Heart Sutra is much better than mine. The people of the Jianghu even gave her a nickname, Ice Poison Fairy Shenmingjie. Ice Poison Fairy. Why does it sound so weird? Yang Ruining frowned. Those who can get a nickname in the Jianghu are not ordinary experts. Huang Fufeng hurriedly explained, Young master, I recommended her to you. I guarantee she is not bad. If you don't believe me, I can ask my martial sister to come out and let you see her skill. Good, if she is qualified, I can spare you this time. Yang Ruining thought of that Li Fan and his stomach was filled with anger. Xiao Tang, find someone to investigate who that hoodlum is. Young master, don't worry, I have already arranged someone to take care of him. A youth with a face full of pimples beside Yang Ruining immediately said, he is an expert in our vanguard army. If he offends young master's people, I will not let him off so easily. Oh, what if he injures Nan Nan? Yang Ruining frowned slightly. Young master, don't worry, we brothers have a sense of propriety, we will absolutely not injure young madam. We brothers were personally trained by young master, we guarantee that we will not let young master down. That's good, in any case, I don't know about this matter. I am tired, I need to sleep for a while. Okay, young master, you can rest now. This Xiao Tang's name is Tang Saiqiang, Yang Ruining's confidant. Although his brain is good, he has a very abnormal hobby, which is to fuck cats. He has more than 10 female cats in his house, each of which has suffered from his inhumane venting. It is said that this habit of his was caused by his former girlfriend. Tang Saiqiang had a girlfriend who was very fond of cats. At that time, Tang Saiqiang had yet to follow Yang Ruining and was penniless. Later on, a pet shop owner gave his ex-girlfriend a Persian cat worth more than 10,000 yuan, and conveniently abducted his ex-girlfriend. From then on, Tang Saiqiang embarked on this perverted path of no return. It was said that when Tang Saiqiang saw a beautiful wild cat on the road, his eyes turned green. Now, he had no interest in women at all. When he saw a cat, he could not restrain his animal nature. Yang Ruining also knew about his bad habit, but as long as it didn't affect his work, he didn't care about it. He even gave him a purebred Bengal cat, which made Tang Saiqiang more loyal to Yang Ruining. However, he was indeed very smart. Otherwise, he wouldn't have become Yang Ruining's confidant. In Tang Saiqiang's words, fuck a cat after a meal, even the gods will bend over. At this moment, Li Fan and Lu Xinan had arrived at the parking lot. The hotel's underground parking lot was also very large, with a total of 3 floors. Lu Xinan called Yufeng, but the other party's phone was turned off. It was probably because the signal in the underground parking lot was too bad. This Yufeng, where did he park the car? Lu Xinan angrily shoved her phone back into her bag and couldn't help but lift her feet one after another. This pair of 15 centimeters high heels, no one could stand it. Li Fan muttered in his heart, this thing is even harder than practicing martial arts. Carry me. Lu Xinan suddenly ordered Li Fan. Big miss, why don't you go to heaven? Li Fan's eyes rolled to the sky, why should I carry you? You're not my mother. No matter what, I'm still your employer. That's in the past. What about the cooperation? That's in the future. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, in short, I don't have any obligation to carry you. Li Fan, how can you be like this? Don't you have any gentlemanly demeanor? Lu Xinan angrily said, be like a man, okay? Yes, be like a man and keep your word. Li Fan nodded, I said I won't carry you, so I won't carry you. You can go to hell. Lu Xinan was furious. Why would any woman like you when you're like this? You're gravely mistaken. Li Fan proudly said, I'm a man with a beautiful fiancée at home. Beautiful? How beautiful can she be? Is she as beautiful as me? Lu Xinan curled her lips, while Li Fan looked up and down at Lu Xinan. You don't say, in terms of appearance, the two of you are indeed equal. Li Fan very seriously said, perhaps, you're a little bit better looking than her. Humph, that's incredible. This Mrs. Beauty is unparalleled in the world. Lu Xinan proudly said. But her chest is bigger than yours, you can't compare. Go to hell. Go to hell. Lu Xinan was about to flip out, but Li Fan was not in a hurry, looking quite leisurely. Okay, look at you, saying a few words of truth and you're already angry. Fine, your chest is big enough to suffocate a person to death, okay? Get lost. You see, you're not happy when I praise you. Li Fan helplessly said, then I have no other choice. Let's break the jar and say God's Day. Who wants to say God's Day? Dream on. Lu Xinan rolled her eyes at Li Fan, before the mission is completed, you can't get rid of me. So troublesome. Li Fan sighed, which made Lu Xinan even angrier. I'm a beauty, but he actually finds it annoying to follow him. This is really unreasonable, is there something wrong with this man's head? How about this, you stay here, I'll go find you Feng, and the two of us will come to pick you up, is that okay? Li Fan really didn't want to be ordered around by Lu Xinan, so he thought of a compromise. I don't want you to carry me. Lu Xinan's temper flared up. You think I can't subdue a merely Fan? Woman, will you die if you don't torment others? Li Fan felt that this young miss was too willful, wanting him to carry her. In any case, I want you to carry me. As a man, you should have the most basic respect for women. Lu Xinan scolded Li Fan, don't you know how to make a girl happy? Of course I know, but you're not a girl. How is this old lady not a girl? How can a flat chest be a girl? I've always treated you as a brother. If I had a pistol, you'd be dead at this moment. Lu Xinan was about to get angry, and Li Fan was about to add fuel to the fire, but at this time, white vans suddenly drove over from the parking lot, surrounding them in the center. Chapter 165. These vans all turned on their headlights and formed a circle around Li Fan and Lu Xinan. Crash! The doors of these vans were pulled open and a group of people wearing black coats and masks jumped out. Each of these people was holding a triage bayonet in their hands. The blade was somewhat dazzling under the light. Each of them was well trained. In the blink of an eye, they surrounded Li Fan and the others. Who are you people? What do you want? Lu Xinan was the daughter of a city's underworld. How could she be scared by such a scene? The moment she saw these people, she already knew who sent them. Young ruining, this guy actually dared to play dirty. But even if she asked him, he would never admit it. It's none of your business. Get out of the way. A man wearing a red mask scolded. Without any hesitation, without any nonsense, he directly waved his hand. These thugs immediately carried their bayonets and walked toward Li Fan. So funny. Looking at these thugs who were like wolves and tigers, Li Fan's mouth revealed a trace of a smile. His current kung fu, could these ordinary people understand? Snake woman, cover your ears. Li Fan said lazily. Oh, Without any hesitation, Lu Xinnan covered her ears with both hands. Ha! Li Fan immediately shouted, fierce tiger roar. His true chi spread out along with the sound, shaking the parking lot on this floor. Bang, bang, bang. The windows of all the cars on this floor were shattered. The car alarms were ringing non-stop. And those thugs with bayonets couldn't bear it at all. How could an ordinary human body withstand this demonic sound filled with true chi? Ah, ah, ah. My ears. I can't hear anything. These people covered their ears, squatted on the ground, and screamed. Many of the overhead lights were also shattered, and the lights in the parking lot flickered, making it look like a ghost movie. Although Lu Xinnan was covering her ears, she was not feeling well either. Her head was buzzing, and Li Fan's body in front of her kept flashing and overlapping. The effect of Li Fan's move was also very obvious. With so many thugs, none of them could get up. The lightest one had a concussion, and the more serious ones had nosebleeds. Young Master Yang might be underestimating me. Li Fan had his hands in his pants, his pair of liberation shoes rubbing against the ground. There's no expert here either. It's really too boring. Just as Li Fan finished speaking, a person slowly approached from the distance of the parking lot. It was a man in a white suit. As the saying goes, a man is white from head to toe. If he's not a pervert, then he's gay. This man was handsome, so pretty that he looked like a woman. He even tied his hair into a ponytail, and had an ear stud, as if he was afraid others wouldn't know how effeminate he was. This man was wearing black pointed leather shoes, and the heels seemed to be made of horseshoes. Every step he took made a clicking sound. Those who knew would think that it was a sissy, but those who didn't know would think that it was a horse. That man seemed to be very casual, swaying as he walked, like a pendulum clock, giving off an indecent feeling. This guy, even if he's gay, he's not a good gay. As Li Fan was muttering, that man in a white suit slowly walked over, stood in front of Li Fan, and looked at him with a smile that was not a smile. Who is it? Li Fan knew that this person did not come with good intentions. This was definitely a martial arts practitioner. Although his walk looked crooked, each step was very solid. With one look, one could tell that he was a martial arts practitioner for many years. His martial arts were very stable. So you're Li Fan. The man in white looked at Li Fan, and then looked up and down for a long time. Why are you like this? This is too disappointing. Fuck, do you have the right to say that about me? You pervert. Li Fan couldn't help but jump. Look at you, you're dressed like a sissy, why don't you take a good look at yourself? Not at all. The white-clothed man said with a beaming smile, only a man like me is qualified to wear such a set of clothes, understand? This person might be mentally ill, overly narcissistic. Li Fan said to Lu Xinnan, who had already stood up with the support of a pillar, Snake woman, hide to the side, lest you get infected by his narcissism. Hey, wait, it seems like you're also quite sick. Forget it, you don't need to hide, I'll go hide. It's not that Lu Xinnan didn't want to talk back, but she really couldn't hear what Li Fan said, and there was still some buzzing in her ears. The demonic sound that Li Fan made just now was really scary. Li Fan, tell me, what are your last words? The man in front of him crossed his arms, looked at Li Fan with some pride. To die in my hands, consider it your honor. Fuck, who do you think you are? Since you sincerely asked for my name, then I'll be generous and tell you. Fuck, I didn't ask. Listen carefully, this old Taoist will never change his name, nor my surname, Yen Kai of the Genie Guard. With that, he lifted his hand from his waist, revealing a jade pendant. Li Fan thought to himself, everyone else has a black waist tag, but this guy got a piece of beautiful jade. This fucking narcissism has reached a certain level, his heart has definitely begun to distort. How can the genie guard be this kind of retard? Li Fan doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. Can you guys take your medicine first? What? Hearing my famous name, are you scared? Yan Kai's mouth hangs a smile. If you kneel down and admit your mistake, I can spare your life and only cripple your hands and feet. Aren't you grateful to me? There's nothing I can do. Who asked me to be a soft-hearted person? Brother, I feel that you're a bit like a retard. Li Fan very seriously said, your genie guard don't have any normal people? It seems that you don't believe in my strength. Yan Kai hooks his finger at Li Fan. Come, I'll let you have 3 moves. Okay, remember what you said. Li Fan won't be polite with him. He directly flies forward and directly uses the most straightforward Black Tiger Steel's heart to test this Yan Kai's strength. Yan Kai just smiles, stands there, only stretches out his right hand, suddenly grabs Li Fan's wrist, and then uses the force to pull back. Li Fan didn't catch Yan Kai, but he clawed at the pillar next to him, digging a hole in the cement pillar. He is a bit surprised. What kind of move is this? I forgot to tell you. Yan Kai's white jade-like face hangs an arrogant smile. Before I became a genie guard, I was the eldest disciple of Wudong Mountain. Fuck, Li Fan's heart trembles. Could this be the inner Tai Chi? You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.